society. See, a new government has the assignment to put we country into alignment. But every time they read us with their ego, it's the vulnerable who feeling that below. Lord, is it ignorance or is it arrogance? I don't know what to call it in this instance. Look at paradise right in front we eyes, but we still want to talk about who we despise.
Tell me where else can we go?
If we start to mash up ego things we know.
Tell me where else can we go?
If we treat we traditions like a Barbie show, you could fix everything on we island. Put gunships on we back like a tyrant. You could put 10 radars all up Scarborough. But don't forget,
this is Trinidad.
We love we freedom, and every citizen will agree that no oppression will be accepted by our Trini. We come from long days on the ground, working hard until daylight come, so we'll see it wrong to be a financial donkey. Cause every day we see a new taxation that causing a new kind of sufferation. And when you don't create that irritation, you send police to fix with desperation. Lord, where's the common sense? Where's the true intent to make you think oppression is relevant? Don't be shocked, my friend, when we start to bend and you see them placards in front of the parliament.
Tell me where else can we go?
If we little children are not free to grow.
Tell me where else can we go?
If they try to ban the words in the calypso, you could try to stop so.
The information provided by the speakers and or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, expressed or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
The Constructive Talk team with Pastor Google are asking for your support in their back-to-school drive. Let's help the less fortunate children get ready for the new school term. Donations of notebooks, copybooks, stationeries, and book bags would be greatly appreciated. Show your love, show your generosity by contacting 464-703 and we will organize collection of your donations. Thank you from the Constructive Talk team. And remember to be kind, be generous, and be loved.
Yeah, mama. Yeah, blues. Yakanya pambilitina.
Yak and Friends proudly presents Uhuru 8. Join us on Saturday, July 25th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the City Hall Auditorium, Harris Promenade in San Fernando. This year's celebration is held in honor of Mr. Anthony Kamiziong as we continue strengthening our African ties through culture, unity, and heritage. Experience an unforgettable evening of African dance, powerful drumming, cultural expression, and a great food. Early bird tickets are $350 admits 2 and $200 admits 1. Come dressed in your finest African attire for a chance to win Best Dressed Male and Female. Celebrate African culture. Celebrate freedom. Celebrate Uhuru 8. For tickets tickets, contact 684-1792 or ticket outlet at Something Special with Finishing Touch at Ritz Plaza, number 25, St. James Street in San Fernando.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening to those of you who are locked on to Constructive Talk with me this evening here. And this evening, I have none other with me, my father, Pastor Dave McKenzie. How are you, Dad?
I'm good. And a special good evening to your guests.
My guest? Use the guest.
To your listeners.
Who is this? Use the guest. What other guests I have? You are the guest this evening. We have you on this evening with us because there are several things that we want some clarity to. Some things that we need some clarity. And to be quite honest with you, sometimes, you know, I am confused based on what I see happening in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm very confused. But again, at the end of the day, this government, I don't know. But again, thank you for choosing to come on with us this evening. And what we're looking at this evening, Dad, is we're looking at several things this evening, several things I want to touch on, but really the legal aspect of some of the things that's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. So really, that is why I ask you to come on, because we're seeing what's happening with this SOE. We are listening, we're watching, and let me tell you that people are very concerned, very, very concerned about our democracy and about our rights. Now, to me, I know when the SOE came out, you said to us, early o'clock, hey, only have no rights, you know. Your constitution is dismissed under an SOE. So when the constitution is dismissed, does that mean that all your rights are dismissed? You don't have to answer just yet. Mm-hmm. So some people are wondering what is going on. What is happening in Trinidad and Tobago? So I know that persons are now coming onto the live, you know. So let me say good evening to everyone who is joining us on the live this evening. This evening I have with me my father, Pastor Dave McKenzie, a lawyer. He's a lawyer, father, mentor. He's everything. Right, so this evening I have him with me and he's going to clear up some things we're seeing where the lockup are 1%. People rejoicing because the lockup are 1%. People think, well, because they lock up this 1%, well, look, the government dealing with white collar crime. When the locking up of the 1% have nothing to do with white collar crime. You correct me if I'm wrong, you know, tell me if I'm going off. I ain't hear this man being charged for no white collar crime. There are persons who, let me tell you something, and this is where I have a problem, right? Listen to some of the things I have an issue with. So they lock up this man, and people are boasting. People are all on the state media talking about, oh, the government dealing with white collar crime. The government, look, PNM never dealt with white collar crime, and now the government they lock up at 1% and it's white collar crime. Hey, don't let me pull back the video, and I could pull back the video now of a white collar crime that happened in Trinidad and Tobago in America. It reached quite America, and nobody up to this day. But you know what, Dad? You know what? That person is now who given what? Who got the contract to put water on Caribbean Airlines planes? We never got an account. We never got an account, or we never got an answer for this about to show here Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody never gave us an answer for this. Nobody. Right? I'm going to play it, and I want you to tell me if you could remember this story, Dad. Right? I'm going to play it now. And I dare anybody to tell me if you have ever heard any answer. If you have ever heard anybody held accountable for this. You know, but again, in Trinidad and Tobago, what can I say? We are 9-day wonder. We are 9-day wonder. We just forget. So I'm going to play this for you, Dad. I want you to listen to this, right? I want you to listen. And I want Trinidadians to tell me if they remember this. But this is the person going to be giving water, eh? This is the person that is going to be distributing water. And this is the person who got the contract for the water on our national airline. Take a listen to this.
A room full of so much cocaine, we can't even tell you where we shot this video, but these drugs were all found right here in Hampton Roads. Border officials say they came in on a ship to the port of Norfolk in December, smuggled into the United States inside fruit juice cans.
I have children of my own. I'm always worried about where these drugs end up. Are they getting to schools?
So exactly how much drugs were seized? Well, 732 pounds worth of cocaine are on the street. That would be $100 million worth of drugs.
There was no specific tip that led to this bust, but Border Patrol workers say the use of fruit cans is just one example of how creative drug traffickers are getting these days. In the past, they used everything from cans like this to body bags. And although the container carrying these drugs was flagged as soon as it left Trinidad and Tobago, our Border Patrol workers could not check the container until it got in the U.S.
We used every tool at our disposal, from large-scale X-ray equipment to household can openers.
The 20-foot container with thousands of these cans inside was headed to New York. Officials say around 700 cans had drugs hidden inside, and workers could not see a difference on the outside between the cans with juice or the cans with drugs. So far here, though, no arrests have been made, but officials hope that will soon change. In Norfolk, Jackie Fay, News Channel 3.
Your dad.
Yes, I recall that.
You remember that story?
Yeah, the grapefruit juice incident, you know. And yes, people have very short memories, especially when you look at people who are younger, right? So people in their 20s and 30s wouldn't have any idea what that's just like. You know, people 40 and above who have a sharp memory and who paying attention to that, which is always a minimal part of the population, may recall it, they may not recall all the details of it. The unfortunate thing is that very few people in society are conscious and aware of what's taking place, current events in the society. You know, I'm always amazed to hear how little people know about some of the basic things in life. Spelling a word, remembering current events. I mean, sometimes that I don't want to bring up this show, I'm not putting an plug, but there's a show called What You Know. And I don't know if they would be asking people on the streets and all the same Psalm 1.4 in different boroughs all over the country. So the question that I'm always amazed at how ignorant we are as a people and how unaware we are of certain things. And then some of the things he's asking those people are not aware. You don't expect them to, I wouldn't expect them to know what a PDO is or you know who is the 1%. So when we talk media language, the language of those people who are in the know, people who are in the press, people who read the newspapers, I mean, people who are aware of the laws and the regulations in the country, talking about out of a population of 1.3 to 1.5 million people. I don't believe there are 50,000 people proper in this country who know what's going on here.
And why is that, Dad? Whose fault is that?
Well, I don't know if that could be blamed on anybody else except the individual, because sometimes I ask my daughters a question. My daughter. And they're university educated, both of them have their master's degrees from UE and all of that. And I will say, you're aware that so and so, well, Daddy, we don't really study the news, and they're literacy. Right? So you're talking about literacy. And they're not aware. From time to time, I will test my secretary. And my secretary is, 19, 20, 21 years of age, 24. I'm secretary, do you know who is the minister of this? No, Hannes Robinson? No, who this? No, we don't study that, no. I remember I was pleased. I asked one of my secretaries, tell me something about the government. She said, well, Kamla give my little sister a computer, and Rowdy and them then give them anything. I said, that's all you could say? She said, well, yeah. And that was it. So I don't know who to blame for that. I don't know if you could say, well, the political party is responsible for that. They need to be educated in public or whatever. But most people are unaware of what is taking place in the society. How many people listen to the news? Nobody listens to the news. I remember years ago when I tell my secretary, we working late or whatever, all the news now. Old man, only old people that listen to the news. And that was years ago. Young people never was interested in the news. 7 o'clock news. Now 7 o'clock news is irrelevant. Now you know people that listen to 7 o'clock news. Because you get any news on your phone all day 24/7. So the point I'm making is that sometimes we think everybody is aware of what's going on. I talk with my neighbors. I'm always on the street talking to people. And we will raise certain issues. I want to say my neighbors, he will fix maxis and all of that. And so it's Maximan, these regular fellas around the area and thing. And you won't believe Maximan, they know what we do. Fellas who drive Maxi, I don't know if it's because they're on the street every day and they hear people talking and all of that. They're aware of what's going on or whatever. People who work in college Spain who have an 8 to 4 and travel and go to work, I guess, commuting, they have conversations and all that. But I'm telling you, most people just get up when the day comes, they go about the business, they don't vote, they don't care about the politics, they don't care what direction the country is going in. They have one general bad view of all politicians, and they say something like, all of them is a thief. Is the UNC turns to thief now, the PNM turns to thief next. And that is it, You ask them who is the Minister National, everybody knows who Alexander. All right, but if you ask them about his powers and the PDO, they don't know what is that, and they're okay. So I think we have to begin there. We have to accept that. And in every country, I was watching an interview, a guy going around the United States and asking people don't know who Trump is. Imagine it have young people in America don't know who Donald Trump is. They don't know anything about politics in the United States of America. They ask them we know more about American politics than them. When I say the Americans worse than us, they're worse than us by far. They don't have any idea what's going on. So maybe the curriculum in the schools need to change and focus on a more local kind of thing where it is mandatory that you know who the Prime Minister is, you know who the cabinet is, before you do any SCA, it must be a part of the SCA probably that will make them a little more conscious. You know what the regular, if these countries are in a state of emergency, you make things like that mandatory questions in the SCA, and make sure, force the knowledge upon them, let them know what are the basic powers of the police, the powers of arrest, people's rights. The Constitution should be a part of the curriculum, at least go to Section 4, Section 5, 13, and 23 of the Constitution is, and maybe that would help people to be a little more conscious. But as we speak, brother, trust me, something as serious as this, preventative detention order, and this has been around for so long, and nobody know what that is. I'm sure if I go upstairs now and I ask my 2-year-old daughter what is a PDO, Daddy, what is that? PDO, what is that? I'm telling you, right? A neighbor or two might know, but for the most part, people don't care. I guess as Trinidadians, we go about our daily lives, and as long as something does not affect us personally,
Right.
we really don't care about it, and that may be true generally. You know, I know it has something coming up called summer stage, and I can tell you, everybody who is under 20 years of age or under 19 know what that is. They know who alkaline is.
You think so?
You know? Yeah, they know. I just test them youths all the time. They know. They properly well know. Right? That's the way that PDO, who is the 1%. Another question I asked somebody who is working for me, somebody who sells documents. So, a young person, I said, you see that lock up the 1%? I said, what are you talking about? I say, the 1% get locked up. They say, who's the 1%? I say, well, Hadid, you know who is Hadid? They say, no. Sabga? No. And Samaka? No. I don't know, sir. And they're gone. That was it there. Yeah. So and we're talking 2021, 24. You know, all of there. I don't know.
But my thing is, how do we get them to know though? Because we have to find a way. We have to find a way to get through to them.
Well, that is what I was saying. Make it a part of their curriculum in school. Make it mandatory. All right, and make it a part of the exams. Everybody studies for the exams, and you know they want to pass the exam and all of that. So make sure that it is a part of their qualification to do the SCA or whatever, and they know all the members of parliament, the representative members who represent certain districts or whatever, the senators, know the three arms of government: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. Under state of emergency, know what it is, know what part of the Constitution and our constitutional rights would be affected by a state of emergency. Know what is a PDO, give an explanation of it, at least know who issued it, right, and the basis on which it is issued. The current events, things like gang-related offenses, being part of a gang, they should know that. They should be able to identify the gangs in their country and know who they are, all right, and have that social knowledge, right? What do you call it? I don't even know the subject in school, but social studies or whatever.
Yeah, social studies.
But, upgrade social studies and make it very local and regional. They should know what is CARICOM, what it represents, know what are the big issues going on, and yeah, let that be it, because this is the country you'll be living in, basically, unless you migrate for the rest of your life. And even if you're going to another country, you know, you have to be aware of certain things, because to become a citizen of the United States of America or Canada, they put you in a room and they ask you questions. And I'm sure they answer those questions right, because you have to know who the Prime Minister is, you have to know what is this Quebec, you have to know Quebec, French Canada, the English speaking Canada, you have to know about Calgary and Toronto, and they ask them and they answer well. You come here and you ask them, where's a hotspot in Trinidad? They don't know what you're talking about. They might think you're talking about KFC. You know, so that is a big problem. Ignorance is endemic.
But you know that to be honest, and to football is the big thing right now, right? England was sent home. Everybody know Argentina. Everybody know England. Everybody know Spain. Everybody could call out players. People know what they want to know. People make themselves available for what they want to be available to and for what they want to know. Isn't that true?
No, that is a good point. And the thing is that people are always well aware of things that have no impact on their life whatsoever. All right, so as I said, you know, people know who alkaline is. Everybody wants to go this show called Summer Stage, you know, and take, you know, these artists to come and sing whatever nonsense they're singing. They know who Shensia is. They know Shensia's latest song, right? There's one called Broxton, Right? Everybody know what Bruxelles is. All the always last them what is Bruxelles, they know what is Bruxelles. And they know in that song that Chelsea about talk calypso and say no calypso, and she used a very common Jamaican colloquialism, very bad word. You know, and everybody vexed with Chelsea. Yeah, everybody know that. Right? They know who Messi is. Everybody know who Messi is. Everybody know Messi and them win the day and they send home the English and they face in Spain. You ask anybody under 12 who is Lamine Yamal. Everybody know Lamine Yamal. You're a young boy now till 19, playing for Spain and all of that. Yeah, they know that. Right? I know it too. Right? But you ask any one of them, who is Dominique Hadid and Javier Hadid? Who owns Blue Water? I don't know. Who is SM Jaleel? And what soft drink products do they make? They don't know. But they're drinking the products, you know. Who is Oasis Water? That's Sani. Who owns it? We don't know. Blue Waters, we don't know. And 90% of Trinidadians will get on a Cal airline and order the Oasis Water, and they realize that it was Blue Waters for the past 20 years with that contract, and that the water changed. I went in a pharmacy after I saw England Delix by this thief in Argentina.
Hey.
I was
Like you, we were supported for this World Cup, Dad.
France.
France
gets sent home. I just supported any team that will beat Messi and them. Anybody who can beat Messi and them and beat Argentina, whom I supported. So I supported Spain on Sunday.
Why don't you wait? Just now, wait. Don't run away with that. Why are you not supporting Argentina?
Because I know too much. And sometimes too much knowledge is a curse.
Dad, you cannot get away with that. You cannot get away.
Let me tell you something.
Listen to me. Wait, just now. Wait. Hello, this is my show. You wait. I directed this show here. You wait on me. I directed this show. I rubbing this train. I rubbing this train. Not you. Okay? Right.
Yeah.
Why, Dad? Why do you not support Argentina?
Because Argentina and England, especially playing England, they have history, right? I don't know if you're aware of the 1982 Falklands War.
No.
Right, but all right. So you'll Google it and understand the history. The English and the Argentinians have history going way back to 1982, fighting over a piece of land called the Falklands. And when you understand the history of that, the English and the English, as we know, they are a colonizing power. So I'm not supposed to be supported at all. I used to support England when it was Sir Alex Ferguson. I used to support Manchester United. When Alex Ferguson resigned, I stopped for them. Right? Old Champions League and thing. I was really into them. When Alex Ferguson resigned, I was done with that. So I don't really follow them that much. But England is not my team. I'm supporting France because of the black players and because this particular French coach, Deschamps believes that the black players, they have the stamina and they have the talent. So you'll find, out of all the European teams, it has the most black players. So I support the black players. I don't support France because they've been very a bad colonizing power, especially the treatment of the people in Congo and in French Africa and all of that. So I don't support the country, but I support the players. And I respect all the European teams who have black people playing for them. There's no black player in Argentina because of a very racist policy that they have called blanquimiento. Well, blanquimiento is make us white. That's what it means, make us white. And after World War II in 1945, when Hitler and these fellas were thrown out of Hitler's men, were thrown out of Germany and they were running from prosecution, Argentina opened its arms to Hitler's men. And a lot of them went there and died there. And there's a place in Argentina called Little Germany. And the descendants of these white Germans have merged with the Argentinian South American population. And successive Argentinian governments implemented a policy to wipe out all blacks. You hear what I just tell you? Kill them all. They were poisoning black people, wiping them out, relegating them to small areas and systematically killing them out.
Okay.
It is the most racist South American country. And they had this policy called Blanquimiento, which means make us white. And they were inviting white people from Germany and other countries to come and impregnate their young girls so that they'll make those South American half-white children so that eventually their population could become white. 2 countries invited the Germans after World War II. Switzerland and Argentina. So that's why you'll never see a black player for Argentina.
Okay.
Right? So they have a racist policy. All right? And it remains the only South American country to lock up Ronaldinho and his brother. All right? But that was a Paraguayan history. And I remember, not Argentina, Paraguay did that. But you see all the guys, Paraguay, Uruguay, and now Argentina, very racist, very racist. All right, so that's why I don't support them. And another reason I don't support them is Jack Warner's answer to a question that was put to him before the World Cup. Mr. Jack Warner is a former FIFA vice president. What country do you think would win the World Cup? Argentina. Argentina will win. And he walked away. That man didn't blink. A former FIFA vice president, that man in FIFA for over 20 years. Mr. Jack Warner, who is going to win the next World Cup? Argentina. Argentina will win. And he walked away. I take that real serious. Because I don't want to bring up the Mansons on radio, but we know the man history with FIFA. Right? And from after Jack Warner gave that answer, I start to watch the World Cup different. And I realized that these referees are only picking up Argentina, right? That's why I say people in Argentina. Messi can't do no wrong. You can't graze Messi. You can't call the lady. You're not penalty. Right? And that is why I say I just want to support any team that will send Messi over. I was supporting France, you know. Then the young fellas, them Mene and Doué and Mbappe, and then let them go with it. You know? But England, from the time England scored a second goal, I jumped in my van. Them fellas did that. I jumped in my van and I go. They said, look, big man gone. I come straight on and I stood on my room. I just waited for Sunday to support that. But the point I'm making,
right, go ahead.
Very good point here when you said people know what they want to know. That's an excellent point. And the extension to that is what they know not affecting them. It's not helping them. Messi not helping this country. You know, Lamine Yamal don't care about Trinidad. He probably don't even know it have a place called Trinidad. But his name is on everybody's mouth because he's popular, he's famous. You know, when you ask people about Trinidad, or I remember one of the questions on the show, what you know, was name the person who the Brian Lara promenade is named after. And nobody was getting that right. They was asking school children that. Name the person who the Brian Lara promenade is named. Name the person who the actual stadium is named after. Nobody might. That are you talking 16-year-old, 17-year-old school children? You know, so I think that ignorance is endemic and it has to be fixed and it has to start in the schools. You know, so I said I just want to address that before we get into it.
Yeah, we're getting into it. Well, boy, I listening to you, eh? You see, Trinidad and Tobago, and I want to say this, eh? Trinidad and Tobago, my father he takes some stands that sometimes it's hard to swallow, but when he give you the raw history, you don't have a choice. That's one thing about Dad. When you see he sit down and you ask him, Dad, why you don't wear Timberland? Okay, let me tell you why I don't wear Timberland. Timberland is a place where they used to burn black people, hang them and burn them to the stake. It's a place called Timbal. And when the Ku Klux Klan couldn't hang and burn black people anymore to the stake, they created a shoe called Timberland. And they have the tree as their logo. And they put the tree on their logo to symbolize that they are going to walk on black people. When that done with you, you don't want no Timberland, you know. You're crying because you want to put on a Timberland. But when you think about you putting on a shoe that represents the walking on black people, you want no part of Timberland.
That's true. You didn't lie and then you are talking. That's the truth.
And that is what Dad used to do to me. Dad used to put us to sit down and explain certain things. When he done explain it, I remember, just by the way, I just want to put this one in. I remember a day, boy, I eating a tin of Pringles. I say, let me eat my little Pringles and I ask myself, ting. This man will walk up to me and ask me, you know what that, you know what that mean? Who does manufacture that? I say, I don't even want to know, because by the time you done it, my over top all. He still tell me. So Trinidad and Tobago, I just want to let you know that this man, he's not a bandwagonist. I've never known my father to be a bandwagonist. So because some people and the partners or whoever and this one and that one following this or believe this, or he has never been like that. He has always been an independent thinker and I just call him a revolutionist. A revolutionist. He stands by what he believes, and if you don't believe it, that's your business. You ain't taking no money out of your pocket and no love from your children. I talk the truth or fake or I ain't talk the truth.
No, you talk the truth. You talk the truth.
So Trinidad and Tobago. So that apart, before we go into what I want you to discuss with me this evening, the other thing I want you to touch on is I'm watching what's going on in America. Right? I'm watching what's happening in America. And the problem I am seeing in this midterm going to have some problems, eh? All right. So let me I see him. I'm seeing where they want to stop the what court it is?
They want to stop the what?
There's a court that they want to stop. The International Court.
The International Criminal Court?
Yes.
Or the International.
What are your thoughts about that as a lawyer?
Well, the International Criminal Court, as we know, A.N.R. Robinson, our very own A.N.R. Robinson, was one of the founders of that court.
That is the court that the Americans want to stop?
Yeah. That's another piece of knowledge that should be taught in the schools. A.N.R. Robinson was one of the founders of that court. It was his brainchild, right? And the whole idea behind that court was to prosecute international crimes, or crimes that were committed by people around the world that had regimes, especially in countries that had regimes that protected those people from persecution. So let's say we have country A, but you see, eventually it ended up kind of just targeting African dictators. Now, that is what I thought was wrong with the court. Most of the people that were appearing in the International Criminal Court were African dictators, you know. So let's say we have a leader of Paraguay, or we have a leader of Colombia, or we have a leader of an African nation, Nigeria, or Uganda, or whatever, or Zimbabwe, And he's a dictator, he's persecuting his people, he's jailing journalists, and they are denying people their rights and all of that. Or he's committing genocide against his own people, the Hutus, the Tutsis, that type of thing, the Somalia, the Muslims, Boko Haram, persecuting people and being supported by state actors and all of that. The International Criminal Court was designed to have these people arrested. They can't leave the country. If they enter into a certain country, they can be arrested and brought to The Hague and prosecuted before the International Criminal Court. It worked for a few dictators, a few people prosecuted, but for the most part, I don't know that it was a success. The reason the Americans want to get rid of it is because of something called American exceptionism. American exceptionism is a doctrine where, by virtue of the fact that America are basically the world's police, and they have American bases in 100 and something countries, I think, around the world. They have American bases, and they protect a lot of countries. Germany has no standing army. They are protected by America. America protects South Korea. They protect this place there that's always fighting with China and Taiwan. There are a lot of countries who depend on America in the event of an attack, by China or by Korea or whatever. They depend on America. America protects them. American exceptionism is a doctrine that says American soldiers and American personnel operating in these countries should be exempt or accepted from prosecution. So, if American soldiers stationed in Trinidad, there's a war, and they're stationed here in Trinidad, and 2 American soldiers raped 2 Trinidadian girls, they should be prosecuted by America, but they shouldn't be sent to The Hague to face any charges before the International Criminal Court. If America is conducting exercises in Nicaragua, one of the officials over there, he executes 5 Nicaragua, he should be exempt from prosecution because he's working for and on behalf of America and in the interest of the United States. So that is what American exceptionism is about. And that is why America, they want to get rid of it because they are calling for the prosecution. They are calling for the prosecution of Donald Trump for what he did in Venezuela and what he's doing in Iran. They are saying he should appear before the International Criminal Court. So they're trying to get rid of it because when Trump is out of office, they can come for him.
Okay. Because I'm seeing where they're saying that the United States under Donald Trump administration is attempting to stop and dismiss the International Crime Court, the ICC. All right. So that's something that I really wanted to hear your views on as a lawyer, if you agree with it or if you disagree with it, because
I 100% disagree with it. America is trying to spare Donald Trump the prosecution that he deserves. That would never happen in the United States.
Right.
The United States will never prosecute Donald Trump. He's a president. When he demits office, he'll be a former president and he'll be basically immune from prosecution.
Right.
But the International Criminal Court, if he lands anywhere in Denmark or whatever, they could arrest him and bring him before the court for killing all those people who he said were smuggling drugs, for killing all those Iranians, for killing all those Venezuelans, for capturing and breaching the sovereignty of our neighbor, Venezuela, and capturing Maduro, to the United States of America and imprisoning him. Donald Trump is doing a lot of things that are very questionable.
Right.
So he's trying to shut down that court so
that he wouldn't have to answer.
He wouldn't have to answer.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that is very interesting. Very, very interesting. And we're going to see how this develops because people are asking the Prime Minister if she supports this move by Donald Trump to
She will say yes.
She hasn't answered us yet.
When she answers, she will say yes.
You think so?
I don't think so. I know so.
I ain't going down that road this evening now.
I go straight down the road.
I'm not going down that road. I'm not going down
She
that
will
road.
say yes.
You really believe so, Dad?
Yeah, she will say yes.
But Dad, if she says where does that leave us as a nation?
Well, when she said no to CARICOM, and when she said she didn't like CARICOM's choice of this woman, I can't remember the name of the woman.
Miss
And all
Burnett.
of that.
Miss Burnett.
Right, Miss Burnett. I believe personally that a lot of the things that a lot of the policies being implemented by this particular government are American informed and American inspired. I believe that.
Okay.
And I believe that this government has modeled and is modeling its leadership following Donald Trump. Donald Trump's government. Yeah, I believe that. So I believe she would say yes. Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana wholeheartedly supported and celebrated the victory of the Trump supported Colombian, I think it's Colombian Prime Minister. He won the election there. And he's a Trump puppet and they celebrated. So Guyana is wholeheartedly behind Trinidad and Tobago and this government is wholeheartedly behind Guyana. Now Colombia, so Trump has a little club. He has a little club, and if you want to seek high office in your country, the Prime Minister of Japan, he's a Trump. I think it's a she or whatever. They support Trump, I think South Korea, they pro-Trump. It's almost as if you want to win the elections in your country, just support Trump. Trump will give you the support you need, Yeah, he has built a kind of cult following around the world that anybody who wants to win just support Trump's policies and he will be there to make sure you win.
All right. You have a caller on the line, a foreign caller. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Pastor Google.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. I'm calling from America. Calling from Minnesota.
You're calling from where?
Calling from the US.
From the US. What part of the US?
Minnesota.
So, Dad, we have a caller from Minnesota on the line.
Yeah,
that is the land of Prince.
That is the land of what?
Your program. What happened to your program?
Prince, the artist.
Oh, that's the land of Prince, the artist. Yes, caller.
Are you still doing your program?
Yes, I'm on right now.
Yeah, but I'm not getting you on YouTube.
Yes, just type in Constructive Talk. You should see it come up, man.
Okay. All right.
I'll send it to you now.
Okay.
All right, yeah. I see the man calling to tell me. You see the man calling to tell me something, Who is this boy? I saw somebody else was trying to call in just now, I wonder. I saw somebody else was trying to call in just now. People like the conversation. They want to call in to share their views. Especially about what you talk about it, Bessie and all those different things. All right. So those of you who are now joining the program, good evening to you. Thank you for coming on. You see, we have 700 and how much? 42 persons already on the line on the live. Thank you all very much for being with us this evening. So this evening, for those of you who are now joining us, I have on the phone line with me my father, lawyer, pastor, mentor, everything in one, Pastor Dave McKenzie. And he is here to talk to you about the laws and what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. So before that do that, I want to play this video, and this is what he's going to be talking about and delving in. And I want you all to listen to him carefully because he's going to tear it apart. All right? So take a listen to this. Trinidad and Tobago. And Dad, I want you to listen to this so that people will know that this is what we're going to be talking about.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
In respect of the observance of the law, all persons in Trinidad and Tobago, every single person in Trinidad and Tobago, whether you happen to be a funder of the People's National Movement, whether you happen to be a member of the 1%, if you break the law, if you cross that line that would excite the member for Tunapuna, I want to be very careful. The member for Tunapuna, whose job it is to write PDOs.
It's not a political thing. It's not a political thing. I don't know why people think it. And I am somewhat embarrassed by that. Why a person would think such a thing?
Well, then you know what? Whether you are a black man from the Beta or whether you happen to live in Bayshore and are stealing government land and property, I don't know. Whether, I'm just saying whether. I'm just saying whether you happen to be doing that, whether you happen to have called the office of the Attorney General essentially at midnight on the 28th, when the results of the elections were coming in, to say, listen, get that lease fixed up for me now. Right? Whether you happen to be any of those persons, you know what? The member for Tunapuna, I am sure. Sorry, I can't call you anything else. The member for Tunapuna and the Minister of Homeland Security will certainly put you on a PDO with Pipey and Rajiali down in Tetron.
What?
Let me see that again.
You know what? The member for Tunapuna, I am sure. Sorry, I can't call you anything else. The member for Tunapuna and the Minister of Homeland Security will certainly put you on a PDO with Pipey and Rajiali down in Tetron.
A few moments later.
And let me say again one more time, no government minister cannot instruct anyone to take out a PDO for anybody. It doesn't work like that. And if that's your information, you were highly misled.
See who did that?
Yes, I heard it.
We have a... So, when you listen to talk shows, you listen to the radio, you watch some people podcasts, and you wonder, number one, is it very pellucidly clear what this SOE is about? What rights do we have? Because there are some people still wondering why we can't protest, why we can't this, why we can't that. So I want you to clear up some of the misinformation out there this evening?
All right. I'll have to begin by saying what is a preventative detention order. I'll look at the legal basis of it, the procedure and execution, and then we look at some of the misconceptions, right? All right, so preventative, some people say preventive, some people say preventative. It's like English America. All right, preventative detention order. If you look at a PDO, a preventive or preventative detention order, the effect of the term is in the word. Preventive, it is to prevent something. And it prevents that thing by detaining you, that is the detention. And then it's an order that is signed by the minister. In this case, in Trinidad and Tobago, it is signed by the Minister of Homeland Security. All right, so the whole idea is to prevent something that is happening from happening. They detain you. All right, it's borrowed from the Australian legislation in Australia. But in Australia, it really it was brought into Parliament to prevent terrorist acts. So it had a specific purpose in Australia. There was a fear of terrorism and terrorist attacks. There was some terrorist attack in Australia. And they said they need to go to the Parliament and have these orders available to the executive, the police, and the security forces, so that in case they are aware that a ship is on its way or a plane carrying terrorists is on its way to land in Australia or whatever, and a terrorist attack is imminent, then they could prevent that attack from happening by detaining the person, by the minister in charge issuing an order. All right, so that's the meaning of it. It is to prevent something from happening. Right? It's an administrative tool. Right? It is an administrative tool, and when we say it is an administrative tool, it is used by the executive, all right, to keep the country safe. So let me give you an example. A ship pulls into port, or there's a plane, I think some plane from Ukraine recently landed at the airport or whatever. And there's information that there are explosives on that plane. And there's further information that those explosives are to be used in some terrorist attack, are supposed to be used. Right? The intelligence services, which I will deal with later, the intelligence services, they have gathered this information. And it is their information that John Paul, who lives in Bayshore, was on the phone speaking to a Ukrainian man and talking about blowing up somewhere in Port Spain. The preventative detention order can give the Minister of Homeland Security the power to write a PDO, send his men to Bayshore, arrest John Paul on suspicion without charge. Without charge. All right? And lock him away in order to keep the country safe as they pursue information concerning this thing. All right? So, whereas before you had to have reasonable cause or probable cause, which applies here too, but you have to go and get warrants and all of that signed by a magistrate or a judge. You know, there's something called an Anton Pillar order. You know, that does not apply to the PDU. You have a suspicion, your intelligence services say, hey, we believe John Paul in Bayshore is talking to somebody, and they use the word terrorist and they use the word prime minister. The word terrorist, prime minister, explosives, you see those three words? That is not it. John Paul is plotting to do something, we don't know what it is, but that is enough without a warrant for the minister to sign an order and arrest John Paul without warrant and without charge and lock him up under the SOT. All right, that's the first thing we have to understand. So the police could have the slightest intelligence about you. They come by your house, they kick down your gate, they kick down your door, they carry it out. Normally you would say, where's your warrant or whatever? I need my lawyer, and that don't apply. And that is what I meant when I says our freedoms, right, are being seriously assaulted with this particular state of emergency. Right? Our freedoms are under attack, which is what it is all about. All right? Our freedoms are under. When I say our freedoms, I mean our freedom of movement, our freedom and right and attorney, our freedoms, well, they could get attorney if you want, but our freedoms to ask certain questions, to ask the police to produce a warrant, right? The right to be charged within 24 hours or 48 hours. They could keep you indefinitely and just keep extending the SOE. You see? So the police, they have a lot of power under this period. All right? Now, the Minister of Homeland Security can issue these orders if he is satisfied that a person poses a threat to public safety or order. So the orders aren't criminal charges. And you see, later on, I have to talk about the approach of these attorneys hired by the 1%. Right? Because they're supposed to be senior counsel. All right? I think Faris is on the team, Mr. Peterson, Chief Stigers, that's what I'm thinking. I read it recently. I think I call those names, right? I don't want to call anybody name that's there, but I think it's a 4-member or 5-member battery of lawyers he's hired with about 3 senior counsel. And then the state went ahead and hired, I think, 2 King's Counsel to fight this. And what they said in the it was in the Express paper today, I have to mention that. Because I think the approach of Quantum Legal, Christopher Williams, I think his approach was much better than the approach of the senior counsel who supposed to be representing Dominican Jovivadi. That is just my opinion. Right? So these orders, they are administrative, they are not criminal charges. So it's not charges brought by the police in the natural scheme of things. All right. So the whole idea, and they are intended to prevent potential harmful actions rather than punish past offenses. So a PDO is not to punish you for something you did in the past, like stealing government land, quote unquote.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you mean.
The Minister of Homeland Security, the Minister of Legal, the Attorney General, in the clip you played, he said, if you're a black man from the meter, a photographic maybe, I'll quote him right. If you're a black man from the meter, or you're a member of the 1% from the show. Now, when he said if you're a black man from Beacon, he didn't say anything about black man from Beacon. But when he mentioned the 1% from their show, and you are, quote unquote, stealing government land, right? Or on the eve of an election, you make a phone and say, fix up that lease. All right? So naturally, he was aligning those 2 things, stealing government land and fix up that lease, with the Bay Show people, not with the black man from Beta. All right, so there were certain insinuations and certain implications and certain conclusions, inferences that can be drawn from how he tried to couch his words, right? Which I don't think was well done at all. It was very poorly done. Because as much as he tried to hide it and he don't want to call names and he don't want to say Roger Alexander, the Minister of Homeland Security, the member for Tuna Puna, will write these PDOs. He was trying to be euphemistic and use euphemisms to hide it. But I think it was very poorly done. Because his language, if you're a black man from the Beatum, that's another stereotype. That Indian people living in the Beatum, that white people living in the Beatum. Right? There's that 1% living in the Beatum. Don't get that. Plenty of them 1% children, a man and boyfriend in the Beatum. So this idea that they're black and they're from the Beatum, that was evident in what he said. And then he comes around and he says, if you're from Bayshore, well, once you're talking Bayshore, we're talking a certain ethnicity, we're talking a certain color. Alright? You know, black people don't be from Bayshore now. You know? So you have black people in Bayshore. I have black people in Bayshore too. You have black people in Fairways, Marvel. I have black friends in Bayshore. I have black friends in Fairways, Marvel. Alright? And I have a good friend, the pairs who are Portuguese descent, from Bayshore. Alright, so this idea that if you're black, you're from the Beaton, but if you're white or you're 1%, you're from Bayshore. And then you're linking the Bayshore people now with stealing government land, because the black man from Beaton can't steal government land. So we know what it is they're trying to say Attorney General. Alright? And the black man from Beaton can't call anybody in the PNM government on the night before they lose the election and tell them fix up any lease, because Beaton people don't deal with lease now. Them must only deal with gun and killing people and them kind of snatching people for something. Them kind of low life crime. I know how to talk like this because I find the Attorney General even now I wrote here, but it was very evident he didn't do a good job of his euphemisms. And it was evident that he was talking about a certain kind of people. So now in the mind of the public, I can draw an inference and say, since Dominic and Javiv Hadid are locked up, the Bayshore people he was talking about is them.
Yes.
That is a reasonable conclusion
Yes.
for me to conclude that they're locked up for it and go and take for jail.
Yes.
Right? That's a reasonable conclusion for me as a right-thinking member of the society, an attorney at law, alright, an ordained minister, licensed marriage officer who have served my country faithfully for over 55 years. I never leave, I never went anywhere. The summer woods, nowhere. Trinidad and Tobago, I stayed there. I never worked life politics. But I stayed there. I married my good friend's father recently when we did it. You know, and the honorable minister was there. Alright? Honorable minister was there. And you know, I actually needed to go on. All my brother and them, Carl, Jacob, and all of them, they leave. And they try to pursue their roots out there and they come back here. I stay. And I listen to the politics, I listen to the Attorney General, and I have drawn an inference and a conclusion that he was talking about Dominic and Javiv Hadid.
Yep.
That is the 1% white people from Bayshore. So now I go on to further infer that from his statement, it appears as though that is Dominic and Javiv Hadid who stealing government land. Is not the black man from Beaton. He mentioned two people, you know. If you are a black man from Beaton or you are 1% from Bayshore, he never say, if he had said, if you are a black man from Beaton and you're snatching people chain and whatever, the PD will come in for. He didn't say that. But he tried to spread it now. He didn't want to focus on the 1%, so he tried to spread it, meaning anybody could get a PD. But when he talk about the 1% from Bayshore, he started to dig in now. Right? Because I know the 1% from Beaton, they have nothing to do with lease. So stealing government. Then bam, you arrest Dominic and Javiv Hadid and lock them up. And they said you have to answer to the member for Pune. And the Regulation 14 empowers the Minister of Homeland Security to issue detention orders if he is satisfied that a person poses a threat to public safety or order. So stealing government land is not a threat to public safety or order. Or calling a high-ranking member in the PNM and telling them fix up them leases, you know. That is not a threat to public safety or order. But what is a threat to public safety or order is information from our intelligence services.
Right.
That somebody wants to take over the premise.
But let me ask you
and
this.
Members of public.
So let me ask you this.
I'm building my case.
All right.
You understand where I'm going?
I understand where you're going. Continue.
Now you go ahead.
No. Sorry. You continue.
No, you hurt my feelings, but I ain't continue. Alright? I just played. Alright. Now, these orders are administrative. Now, what is the procedure? Alright? Hold your question to ask me, right?
Yeah.
Let me just finish on this. Once a PDO is issued, alright, so let us get the chain of event. The Attorney General stood up in the Parliament and he says if you are 1% foundation, if you want to steal, if you're stealing government land, or if you want to call people and tell them fix up the lease, whatever you do, the Minister of Homeland Security will handle it. That's what he said.
Yep.
Regulation 14 said the Minister of Homeland Security is empowered by Regulation 14 of the Emergency Powers Regulation to issue detention orders if he is satisfied that a person poses a threat to public safety or order. And I just mentioned that if it's Dominic and Jean-Louis Padilla, they don't pose a threat to public safety. And
that's exactly what I was going to ask you.
If they're stealing government,
thieving government land is a threat to order.
No, you see, you can't arrest them for that. They can't arrest them for that because to arrest them, the order of itself is to detain people who the authorities are satisfied is a threat.
So how are they a threat?
Alright, good. I know you know I'm into the second part. We have what is called the intelligence services in Trinidad and Tobago. You have the SSA, you have whatever. The Prime Minister is the head, I think she's the head of the intelligence services. I forget the name of the organization or whatever. But all the intelligence apparatus, I think she's the head of that. Alright, they have the place to have a come out to remember the blimp. Right. Then wherever they have the apparatus and all that.
Them still are the
now, they are saying that the intelligence services got information that the couple, Dominic and Jean-Louis, may have been involved in making some plan to kill the Prime Minister and to kill members of cabinet, and they have the power to do it. They have the know-how to do it. And that is the threat to public safety.
Oh.
No, you could arrest and detain them on that. You can arrest them and detain them on the land thing. But if the land thing is the real issue and you can't get them on that, then you have to have something. And they're saying we have something. Our intelligence services have been reliably informed or whatever that there are other things like try to kill the Prime Minister, plot to kill the Prime Minister, whatever. You understand now?
Right.
Good. You could detain them under that. Now, so the Minister of Homeland Security signs the PDO. Any police officer can arrest the individual without a warrant. So once the intelligence services share the information with the Minister of Homeland Security, he could send 2 police vehicles, kick down the door, drag in Afghan and die. You following me?
I'm following you.
The detainee is held at a designated facility such as the ECRC, which is the Eastern Correctional Rehabilitation Center, Golden Grove Women's Prison, or remand prison under conditions directed by the Minister. So the Minister determines where they are held out of those places, including detention, and how they are held. He determines the conditions. So whereas if they come and arrest me tonight, they say you on a radio program, they Google and real like what you say, they kick down my door, they come, they drag me down. They could carry me to the ECRC, they could carry me to the Golden Grove, and they could lock me up, and the minister will say, "Hey, well, do give this man A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Make sure he do have access to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and do this for him, A, B, C, D, E, F, G." The minister determines that. You understand what I'm saying? Not the constitution right determining that, you know. The minister determining that. You understand the powers these fellas have, right? And that is why when information came that Dominica needs watching World Cup in Golden Grove, they sent Torah Spain on leave. Alright, because watching World Cup probably was not one of the conditions for his detention. He's supposed to be watching the World Cup. And he and his wife, right, they're down there in Golden Grove. That's not the condition. Right? So there was a violation of the conditions, and then other prisoners start to act up. This man getting to watch World Cup, his wife coming and go, what is that? So in order to save face the minister, they have to send him on leave one time. Because the conditions under which the person said is very important. Because if it is that is a terrorist or somebody want to blow up Trinidad and Tobago, or they have 6 tons of C4, right? Or they bring in 10 pounds of uranium-238, right, to make nuclear weapons, and they have it in a barge out in the sea. Guys, man, you have to know how you're locking him up. You can't just drop this man in any prison. You have to lock him up in a cell in a hole, one little light coming in and give him 1 meal a day and interrogating him, waterboard him, all that kind of thing, because the conditions for his detention must match the seriousness of the crime that your intelligence services tell him he has the ability to commit or he's about to commit. You follow me?
Yes.
The order must state the grounds for detention, and it must be published in the Gazette within 7 days. PDOs are temporary and remain in effect only for the duration of the SOE. Now, this SOE finishes in September 15th. Which means if by Friday the Court of Appeal doesn't rule in favor of Dominican Janvier's application to be detained at home, that's what they're applying for. The man's sick, he has about 200 diseases, alright, he needs medical attention, he's not getting that attention in prison. I don't know how sick he is because he watching World Cup. So you want to be locked up at home, you will comply with the authorities, all of that. That will cause a firestorm in this country because it's about 1,650 people being detained under these videos, and them can't watch World Cup, and them can't go home to their family too.
But
right,
that's not the first. But they that under the SOE there were persons who were detained at home, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Right in this country here, there were persons who were detained, who they considered to be gangsters.
Right.
And if the lawyers and they are smart, they can use that. And just like you just say, a precedent has been set.
All right. The Dominican Javier is a different level.
How is a different level?
No, we know that they're right. But the perception is that this is Dominican Javier Hadid. This is the Hadid. They are the 1%. Remember, it's the Attorney General who made that distinction, partner. It's not me. It's John Jeremy who said if you are a black man from Bibita, that's the 2 classes of human beings in Trinidad, the identifier. The man ain't about Chinese. The man ain't about Indian. The man, it has 2 humans living in Trinidad. No. And the 1% from Asia. But
Dad, no.
Telling me, no. You know what you're trying to do? You're trying to tell me that there are people who under who thing under the gas thing, right? And I tell you, Javier and Dominic Hadid is not them.
But
I the black people from the Peter you're talking about. but the Attorney General identified the two species of human in Trinidad and Tobago. Black people from the beat up that you're talking about, but the other species that he identified is the 1% from Bayshore.
Dad, but listen to me.
Am I right? Wait, let me finish this one. If the 1% the black man from the beat up under the PDO gets to be home with the family. You ain't gonna hear that with you. Nobody will bother with that. They will say, well, he get through. Good for he. But you see, if the 1% from Bayshore get through and get to go home, what will people say? Answer that.
They would say he privileged and he's at 1% and look how they get through and what and
brother, I don't even think you understand what you just said. Let me tell you how dread it is. When I was in law school, we went on a tour of Golden Grove prisons under the Dana Sita. I did my in-service criminal law training with Ms. Dana Sita and with Mr. Gilbert Peterson. And with Senior Counsel Stanley Mann. Very distinguished people I did my in-service training. And one of the things Ms. Sita did, she took our class, and in that class was Tonya Rowley, Dr. Rowley's daughter. We graduated together from it. And Dana Sita took us on a tour of Golden Grove. Brother, they walk us through all themselves. And the man who was conducting the tour, the prison officer, he was telling us, see, he's one of the most evil men in Trinidad. He killed more people than we could count. He killed hundreds of people. See this one? That's the later the tour. We stopped at a cell and young fella held on to the bars of the cell crying and begging Miss Sita to help him. I can use the word he used, but he said, Mom, every night that so and so, Papa a cigarette, Mom, for a cigarette, they only, meaning they're having continual sexual intercourse with him in the cell and he wanted to be moved and he started complaining right in front of the whole class. Why you were walking through there? All those beautiful law students from Barbados and St. Lucia and Trinidad and Tobago dress up, all of us dress up like lawyers. So you know them fellas that suited the girls, they're harassing them and all that, and the prison officer walking us through. We came upon a cell, and the prison officer told us, see, these are the people who were detained under so and so, or so and so. He described what was the particular case they were locked up for. And in that cell, my brother, listen to me, in the name of Jesus, I can't lie, was a 65-inch screen. And the movie that they were showing, gosh, what's the movie, boy? It's a movie with real action and gunplay and gunfighting and this one. All the prisoners watching that big screen. You know what is the question Ms. Sita asked the prison officer? Why are you all allowing these fellas to watch this kind of movie, these movies that promoted violence? If you see fellas watching that screen, that big screen, men in other cells going to see it, but the cell at the time, if you see men inside, there's a reminder. Real men watching that movie, and then fellas, was it Fast and Furious, right? I think it was Fast and Furious. Yeah, with all that car play and gunplay, and then fellas running from police and thinking it was Fast and Furious. And Ms. Sita asks, why you allowing them to watch that type of movie? Some of them locked up because of some of the things these fellas doing in the movie. You know what the prison officer told Ms. Sita? That was a gift. It's one of them big prisoners bringing that. Now, if I didn't see that with my own two eyes, then I would be alarmed that it have a TV in Golden Grove that Dominic Hadid watching World Cup on. Brother. When you're driving along the highway heading to Maloney and you're on your phone your phone will shut down. Right? If you have hotspot, that'll shut down. You know why? Because they have things to interfere with signals around the prison, so prisoners won't be able to make calls. You feel many making calls from prison. You feel many on the phone 2 hours a day on phone as we speak from that prison. So that whole thing is Dominica need getting to watch World Cup. Because of what I saw in my own 2 eyes, I saw joke. But people are acting up because it's Dominic getting to watch the World Cup. The black fella from the BTMD could watch it. But Dominic getting to watch World Cup? Nah! That's 1% privilege. So they have to act fast and send her as pay and leave. Because that is something good. And now, which leads me to my other point I'm saying about that, the application on behalf of Christopher Hughes, aka Christmas Rajiani, right? And Earl Richard. Them fellas now acting up. I don't understand how the thing was. All the time they're quiet, you know. So Raji was saying whatever he had to say, whatever. But now that a 1% base show up with his wife and Star Sanga, when she's 65 or 69 years old, she lock up.
That's how old she is? How old is Hadid? How old is Hadid's wife?
I don't know. I don't know what Hadid's wife. My name is Dominique. But the Star Sanga one, who lock up, I think she was 65 or 69. Is that what woman?
Oh,
the point I'm making, pardon. The point I'm making. Raji and them was acting up before. Right? Raji and them was acting up before and saying, hey, we right and all that. But now they have a golden opportunity to be heard. So they are run by Kristen. Right? He graduated a year before. They run by Kristen. And now I'm reading from the Express newspaper. In a letter dated July 14, attorneys Kristen J. Williams, Blaine O'Brien, and Aaron Lewis of Quantum Legal said they represented Earl Richards, Raji Ali, and Canadian national blogger Christopher Hughes in the attorney said the request was being made in the public interest and sought an investigation into the acquisition, interception, retention, dissemination, and use of intelligence gathered by national security agencies and relying upon an executive decision maker. I have to congratulate my boy Tristan. He moved badly. He get on badly. That is the direction you have to go because these are criminal charges. And when Dominic and Gervais went to court to argue this before Justice Francis Passad, basically what he said, the minister don't have to put an affidavit outlining what you all did. He don't have to charge you with anything. There's a procedure in the regulations that you want to follow. You know what the procedure?
Tell me.
They must be informed of the reason for detention in a language they understand. So you can't talk Spanish. They have the right to legal representation and confidential communication with a lawyer. No problem. They may request a review of their detention by a tribunal consisting of a chairman, an attorney at law, who must be an attorney at law, and 2 members appointed by the Chief Justice. The minister is not bound by the tribunal's recommendation, but may revoke the order at any time. So you understand the procedure, and that is why the King's Council, who the state hired to represent them, the King's Council say, where are you going with this thing? This is not a criminal trial. We're talking about charges and warrant and affidavit and a right to know, and the judge, the charges need to be explained. They say there's no charges, there's no warrant, no affidavit is necessary. This is not a criminal trial. But there's a procedure. The Chief Justice will appoint 2 people and an attorney at law to sit and listen to their complaints presented to the minister, and the minister may, after the tribunal has sat, may say, you know what, let me release the other. Or he may say, no, let them stay locked up. So on Friday, now this reached the Court of Appeal. Now what the Court of Appeal did, is reviewing the decision of the High Court to see if the Justice Francis was the judge was right, all right, in his summation. And then they say by Friday, there is no judgment. They say by Friday, if not before, but by Friday, they'll be able to say what is their position, that they agree with the lawyers representing Dominica and Javi, that they should be released and detained and they go, or they disagree. Now, if they agree, now this is the Court of Appeal. The state now, all right, the lawyer representing the will say, right, we win. Paris and will say, we win. When they disagree, they can now take it to the Privy Council.
Do you think it would reach the Privy Council?
I think so. I have to research as to whether things like that.
But there are cases, but you know that the Privy Council have to give their ruling on a case like this. Remember the police, I think it was a police officer, some big man in the police who they would have locked up, hold under the detention order, and he took it to the Privy Council.
Okay. Right?
You see,
PDUs have been actively used during recent assaults to target gang leaders, shooters, and other individuals deemed threats to public safety. As of November 2025, 156 PDUs were issued. Alright, 98 executed, 58 outstanding. Detainees have included both civilians and law enforcement who stand affiliated with our networks. Enforcement of PDUs has been associated with measurable reductions in crime, including a 42% increase in homicide and reductions in violent crimes and loss. Right? Notable cases would be like Tyreek Williamson, Danny Guerra, we know they were under. Alright? So basically, it's an administrative tool that is available to the government under the Emergency Powers Regulation, under a state of emergency, to arrest people without warrant and without charge and keep them locked up because they are aware of some threat to public safety or the lives of officials, in this case, public officials, and the Prime Minister. So nobody is aware of the nature of the intelligence. What I like with what Kristen and they did, right, is that Kristen and they, Quantum Legal, said, yeah, we are asking the Commissioner of Police to launch an investigation as to whether these intelligence agencies are acting within the law. So he's questioning, is he taking it from the root? All right, he said, I'm reading from the paper. The attorney said intelligence has been publicly relied upon in recent years to justify declarations of states of emergency, arrest, PDO, surveillance activities, transfers of prisoners, criminal investigation, and other executive decisions affecting constitutional rights. It's a constitutional right issue, it's not a criminal law issue. And that is what the King's Council is saying, and I agree with the King's Council. It's a constitutional issue. All right, and I think the judge gave them the right to pursue any constitutional violation of their right that they want to, but he upheld the PDU. He said everything was done correctly with the PDU. The minister dismissed, and the King's Council agreed with the decision of Justice Frank Sipasa to keep them detained under the order issued by the minister. But he said you're free to go ahead and pursue the constitutional aspect of it. And I agree that this is basically a constitutional issue, and that is why I think Quantum Legal really went the proper way. All right, they argued, this Quantum Legal, in their letter to the Commissioner of Police, they argued that the integrity of the statutory intelligence framework was constitutionally significant, where intelligence gathered by the state agencies informed executive decisions related to matters such as preventive detention, law enforcement priorities, and public safety measures. All right? The attorneys further argue that Parliament had imposed mandatory reporting obligations of procedural safeguards under both acts to ensure accountability. and democratic oversight of intelligence. They contended that the matters raised also engaged issues of procedural fairness and natural justice, particularly where executive action materially affected an individual's liberty and constitutional rights. We're talking about sections 4, 5, and 16 and 22 of the Constitution. The letter stated that the intended applicants have not been afforded any meaningful opportunity to determine whether intelligence relied upon by the state had been lawfully obtained, retained, disseminated, or relied on. That is the core question. Right? I think the council represented here raised the issue of the state relying on unverifiable intelligence. But what quantum legal is saying in their letter, they are saying that who is monitoring these intelligence? So let's say the strategic services agency is the intelligence unit. Let's say it's the SSA.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Let us say they had a small blimp, or they set up some recording or something in Mr. Hadid's office, and while he and his wife were having lunch, they made some kind of remark, some locker room talk, the Prime Minister, well, she's so whatever, they say whatever they have to say. All right? And that is the intelligence they're relying on. All right? Or what? Okay, so quantum legal is arguing how intelligent is the intelligence. So he is saying to the Commissioner of Police, investigate that. I don't think the Commissioner of Police is the right place to go for that. If they want to try there, but if they also want to go to the court and file a constitutional motion of the violation of the rights of the deed, all right? Because the regulation 40 makes room for that. Because they understand that it's a violation of their right. Remember, the PDO is a violation of their right, sir? I mean, they're not hiding to say that. This is a violation of their right. Because they have a right to be charged after 48 hours.
But Dad, isn't that your constitutional rights have been taken away under this SOE?
Yes.
So if your constitutional rights have been taken away, then that 48 hours and all those different things is no longer applicable to you or to nobody.
No, my brother. No, my brother. You're making a basic error, right? Of people who don't understand the Constitution. So I'm not put up the Constitution because I shared this with you already. The Constitution allows for your rights to be taken away in certain conditions. One of the rights that we lost as a country was under COVID. The freedom of movement, we couldn't go to the club, we couldn't go out, we had to stand 6 feet apart. All of that. That's a violation of my right. We couldn't go here, we couldn't go there. We couldn't go to the beach, we couldn't go here. There was a taking away of my rights and my freedom to move about the country. The Constitution allows for that, partner. I'm not sure that you don't know that.
But let me all right, but listen to this, right? I want to play for you. Remember I tell you that there is a matter before the Privy Council?
Yeah.
I want to play for you. The matter was in the news. I want to play for you what was said. Take a listen to this, Dad.
The Privy Council has reserved its decision in an appeal that could set a major legal precedent on the use of states of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago. 5 British law lords heard the case brought by 3 men, including senior police officer Earl Eli, who were detained during the 2011 state of emergency over an alleged plot to kill key government officials. The men were released when the SOE ended without being charged. The case marks the first time the country's highest appellate court is considering the constitutional use of a state of emergency. Eli, who was a sergeant at the time, later received several promotions, including to Assistant Commissioner of Police last year. The High Court and Court of Appeal dismissed challenges to the SOE proclamation and regulations. However, the Court of Appeal found Eli and one of the other men were wrongfully arrested and awarded them $100,000 each in damages, while overturning an earlier ruling that they were denied access to their attorneys. Before the Privy Council, Senior Counsel Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj argued that the then Besassa government improperly used an SOE as a crime-fighting tool. He said states of emergency should only be used when there is a threat to public safety and when the courts and police are incapacitated. Representing the State King's Counsel, Peter Knox defended the appeal court's ruling and rejected claims that the men were denied access to their lawyers.
Oh, Papa.
That is the argument that the Prime Minister has been using the SOE as a crime fighting tool, when that is not the purpose of the SOE. No, that is not the purpose. That should not be the purpose of a data measure. Now, they will have to go to court and prove that, but I'm telling you, the way the Constitution is drafted, it gives the state sweeping powers. You hear that term I just used there? It gives the state sweeping powers. All right? And going ahead and instituting these laws, right? So sections 4 and 5 of the Constitution guarantees us our rights, okay? I'm not giving you this other piece. It gives us our rights, freedom of movement, right to an attorney, right to this, right to that, right to education, right, all the rights are, it's called the Bill of Rights. So the Bill of Rights are sections 4 and 5 of the Constitution. Section 13. Next time you have some time, pull up and read section 13 of the Constitution. Exceptions for certain legislation. Which means all the rights outlined that we have in sections 4 and 5, those rights could be taken away by pieces of legislation. In this case, the emergency powers regulation, that are inconsistent with sections 4 and 5, or inconsistent with your right. Your right. Now, it is something that you'll find in every constitution in every country. Every democratic society, they make sure and let you know what your rights are, but they'll also make sure that the government also has the right to take away those rights in the event of an emergency or an exceptional circumstance. And that is where section 13 comes in. An act to which this section applies, we expressly declare, listen to me, that it shall have effect even though inconsistent with sections 4 and 5. And if any such act does so declare, the COVID regulations was one of those that was inconsistent with sections 4 and 5, which gave me the right to move about the country. But the government cannot lock me up if I went to the beach. They can't lock me up if I go to the beach now because those rights are not being curtailed because there's no COVID regulation. But under the COVID regulation, if I go there, lock up people went to the beach. And they can't go to court now and say, my constitutional right was violated. No, the Constitution gives the state the right to violate your right. You understand what I just said?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a
lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, but I don't like democracy then. I don't like democracy then.
Listen, if they don't want to be under section 13, and if any such act does so declare, let's say the COVID, it shall have effect accordingly unless that act is shown not to be reasonably justifiable in a society that has a proper respect for the rights and freedom of people. So if there's a COVID crisis in the country, and the Prime Minister say rights on COVID regulation, we have a crisis. There will be temporary, but we have a COVID crisis. Nobody can go to the beach. the man who wants to go to the court to argue that his constitutional right, his freedom of movement, has been violated by the COVID regulation, he will have to show. Hello?
Yeah, listen to you.
He will have to show that that act is not reasonably justified.
So, Dad, as a lawyer, do you think that this act of the SOE and what is being done to Trinidad and Tobago, you think that it falls under that regulation? Is an SOE justified? Is crime justified for an SOE?
All right. I don't think so.
All right. Wait. Our next question for you. Our next question for you. So, okay, as an attorney, you reading our Constitution, you looking at what is being said in the Constitution. All right. The government choose to use regulations from the they choose to take apart our Constitution to take away some of our rights. But when you look, Dad, at what they are saying to us, because you just tear apart, you just tore apart what the Attorney General said. The Attorney General he clearly you hear the discrimination in his statement, where he said, okay, so we going after people who live Bayshore and those areas, and people who live Beetham and Silats. He has split the country down the middle. And last night, I had Mr. Vasan Baraat on, and he alluded to this. He said he is not sure that this country could recover from this segregation and this separation that they have done, or they are doing. And I heard a friend of mine said it the other night. She said that this is a prime opportunity for black people and the Syrians to come together. Because at the end of the day, the way out this is looking, we had to come together.
Well, I don't believe there will be any Afro-Syrian alliance against who we coming together against the Indian.
We had to come together against the government.
Brother, you don't really want to hear my opinion.
All right, no, I don't. No, wait, hold. No. Tell me it personally. I'd have vetted first.
All right.
Yes, I have to vet it.
Is it a fact that SM Jalil now has the contract for Caribbean Airlines to supply them with bottled?
Yes.
The bottled water that SM Jalil will be supplying under a contract that is just under $500,000. I don't know if it's $500,000 a month. I don't know if it's $500,000 a year. The newspaper didn't say. But okay, let's go back. Two things were identified by the Attorney General in his parliamentary tirade. Somebody from Bayshore, Abita, somebody of the 1% from Bayshore apparently made a call to some high-ranking PNM official on the night before the election and say, make sure my lease signed. Am I correct, boy?
Yes.
Good. The lease the 1% brethren from Bayshore was talking about is the lease for them to continue the use of a parcel of land in the Orange Grove estate, about 450 acres, which has an artesian well. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
That artesian well, you know what's an artesian well?
Educate
Let me
me.
explain to your listeners, right? An artesian well is a well of water. Now, there's more water below the earth than above the earth. I guess people should be aware of that by now. There are huge lakes under the soil in Trinidad and Tobago. You know what I say? Lakes, not rivers. You know. Other Carani Canal are talking about lakes. Do you know in Eddie Savannah, all that water that runs down from the mountain, see that kind of canal, that big drain running alongside the the orphanage?
Yes.
That is just an example of the amount of water that is coming up from the Tunapuna River. That water goes underground, partner. Under Eddie Savannah, where people play football, is a lake. You're talking about a river. It's a lake. Wassa had 9 wells there. You want to get the truth on that? Talk to Mr. Colm Embe and talk to Mr. Murray, the cricketer. I can't remember his first name. Them old boys know those that lake under Eddie Savannah. And still, Wassa has a well there today. You go there and see how Wassa set up there. It's fence around. Right? Wassa pumping water from there forever. Right? That eternal supply of water. All of us going and die and leave that water there. Because that is tons and tons and tons and tons of water of rainfall over thousands of years from that settled under there. An artesian well is an impermeable layer of rock that settles above the well. Impermeable meaning you can't drill through it with a normal drill. You rock hard, it's not limestone. You rock hard, it's the hardest hard. And to drill through that partner, you have to get special drills. And when you drill and it touch the water, the pressure of the rock on the water is so strong. The water it pitches up. You need no pump. It pitches up. And it remains like that forever. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not for 100 years, 200 years, not for 300 years, forever. Well, there's an artesian well on that 450-acre parcel of land in Orange Grove. Taylor Ricard is a winemaking company that has been operating there for years, and they sold out the company to the elite and they bought it over. All right, and from 2007 to present, the Hadiths have been renewing the leases every 5 years. They get it renewed under the PN and they get it renewed under the UN. All right, but this time around, when man smelled the earth and realized PNM going and lost, they might be in some trouble. The Attorney General hinted that somebody of the 1% in Bayshore called somebody in PNM and say, renew my lease, Bridget. Renew my lease for that land. We going good so far?
Yep.
That application well, we believe, it is my opinion, and I use the legally installated word, is used to provide blue water.
Okay.
How are we going so far?
You're going good so far?
Good. With certain monies and license fees being paid to Wassa for the use of the well because it's state land. Talk to me.
Okay.
How are we going so far?
Good.
Right. So Wassa making use of the water on state land, Wassa, who is a state agency, is Dominican Javier Fadid and the company harvesting what is blue waters from the artesian well, and it has given Wassa a fee. But it's at least that the state was renewed for them every 5 years. How are we going so far?
Good.
Right. And they ran that well from 2010 to 2015.
I hear you. Say that again.
And that well, they had some of the well to run them to water from 2010 to 2015.
Yeah.
Who renewed the lease for them?
UNC?
Good. And from 15 to 20, who renewed?
PNM?
And from 20 to 25, who renewed?
PNM?
Who lost the election in 20?
PNM?
Good. Now let me give you my opinion. They have a waters in Trinidad called Blue Mountain. Right there. Go get that. Alright? Now Miss Keezel Jackson had a lot to say about this Mr. Perm, who owned Blue Mountain, but I met him personally. A short Indian, very small frame. And when I worked as a freelance journalist with AVM Studios under the Venerable Dale Colasing and Winston Maynard, who trained me in freelance journalism. One of the stories I covered was the Blue Mountain story. So I personally interviewed the owner of Blue Mountains, which is in Santiago. And I saw his setup there. I can describe it to you. I wouldn't describe it on air. But Blue Mountains has been a kind of rival and competitor with Blue Waters over the years. But we have the oceans and we have the other waters and all of that. Essentially, you got that contract. It's a $500,000, just under $500,000 contract. I don't know if it's monthly or if it's annually. If it's annually, it's not a big contract because $500,000 a year for 5 years, so almost that makes up that 2.5 million. If it's monthly, the supply Caribbean Airlines with Oasis or whatever the water that's that, Oasis, then that's a pretty lucrative contract because $500,000 every month, 12 months a year, 12 times 60, like $6 million a year, and for 5 years, that's a $50 million contract. This is a pretty lucrative contract. Now, I don't know how Oasis get their waters from. I think on the bottle I read it tonight, it said it is distilled and something. Distilled simply means that take water and leave it over. I know what I mean. I know what I saw, right? I don't know if it's water that they say they're distilling and they're putting some additive. That listen, let's just use these words loosely, but it's really water you're drinking. The difference with blue water is that it's supposed to be coming from this artesian well. Right, hello?
Yeah, listening to you.
Right, good. Now, it appears to me that now that the contract has gone to essentially, my question, could they just simply have given the contract to essentially without locking up the headies?
No, the problem was two things you said earlier. The problem was that they got the land on the hours before the election results come out. One.
Is that what the Attorney General meant when he said stealing government land?
Yes. 1 and 2.
Well, then they were stealing government land from 2010 to 2015?
Yes.
So they were stealing government land under the PNM?
Yes.
And they were stealing government land under the UNC?
Yes.
So now is a problem that is...
Yes, because I didn't get any money. You did not give me any money for my campaign.
Ah! If you was in front of me, I'd hit you one shoe. One shoe I would have hit you for being so hurt. That is my opinion.
But the next problem with that is...
money.
Yeah, and he ain't give me none.
Money.
Yeah.
And I say, no, wait, I'm going further with it. And this is my opinion. If you want to leave me on Alexander, then put up and ride up on me. Right? My opinion is, also PNM gave you headquarters. All right. Get big, nice building and thing. All right. Certain allegations were made in Parliament that it's drug money bill. All right. Although no evidence was provided to show that it's the sale of cocaine and Molly and all of that provided the money to build the Balize house, but it was alleged. Well, give me a headquarters now,
No.
I PNM.
No, me get no
I
headquarters.
I PNM to the bone. Alright, okay. When we get in power, we go see
Yep.
for them contract on them.
Yes.
Alright, because we help you with at least from 10 to 15. PNM come back around for 10 years. Now you're playing this PNM forever, and they will give you some money to build a little headquarters. Give me a 200 million about 11 build a little headquarters. No, I PNM, maybe that's not the conversation, but alright.
Yeah.
When we get into deal with you, bam, we get into power, bam, state of emergency. Bam, from the time it starts. And these know what going on long time. Bam! We tackling the 1%. Because whether it's a man from Beaton now the Attorney General trying to make it as though we are no respecter of persons.
He trying to be
We
balanced.
are no respecter of persons. Whether it's from Beaton, we looking up all these Beaton people and all these Lavender people and Raji Ali and all of them lock up. Now we're coming for the 1% too. We have no fear or no favor, We just deal with everybody who dealing with drugs. So Mr. Modaded, and let's call him Modaded. Right? The Syrian from Modaded. He make a statement, boy. That's the most sarcastic statement I ever heard a man make. Real sarcastic statement. He said, all of we get money, restart from scratch. Right? Everybody build up themselves. Pennywise, build up themselves. Extra foods, build up themselves. I thought it was very convenient, the two businesses he called. That's all I have to say.
Wow.
Because if it's not just the black boy from Maloney and La Roqueta and Chain Line and Digo Market, right? And the little black boy from B-Town and Laventer and around the bridge and Ashley Street, right? If it's not them alone you're locking up everybody. Welcome to this new UNC regime who don't care all the 1%. I don't care. Once you touching anything that have to do with wrong, this government coming for. But we kind of identifying the wrong we're talking about. You see them who like to keep government land. And you see them who like to call for contract and lease to be signed the night before election. That is the kind of 1% people. We have plenty of 1% back. Yeah, not more than. And then, bam! Days after you lock up the people, essentially, you come and get a contract to provide Caribbean Airlines, which is a state company, 90% state-owned, 10% owned by Jamaica. With waters, with food. So you feel that $500,000 a month or $500,000 a year contract versus get. They be passing some money in gratitude and gratefulness to this government for giving them that contract.
But in 2015 coming down, Ms. Bisasa made a statement. She said they have their Oreo now. Remember that? Who the 1% controls. And then they turn and they say, a lady in the audience say, they try to control you. And she turned and she said, yes. I'll never forget that. But I want to open up the phone lines to hear what people have to say, because we have a lot of people on the live this evening. And I want to hear what persons have to say, what are their thoughts. So the number to call, it will be on your screen shortly. The number to call is 464-7003, 464-7003. If you are outside of Trinidad and Tobago and you want to make a call, the number to you have to add 1-868-464-7003. That is the number to call. Make your point, make your views. Hey, we have our first caller, man. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, the interesting conversation and perspective from your father. But the interesting thing about the judgment he referenced, which has been reserved for decision by the council with Assistant Commissioner of Police Eli and the two other gentlemen concerning the 2011 SOE is will be a very strong precedent that will control how future governments use PDOs under states of emergency. And I think that is why the Privy Council is taking has announced that they will take the time to go through that judgment. Because as your father indicated, right? And I would have discussed that with you from before. And this is what Dr. Rowley warned us about when you issue states of emergency. Now, states of emergency usually are when you go to the strict reading of the Constitution, where a state, where something happens in the country and it requires extraordinary measures outside of the normal legal framework to attend to it. Most of the time when that happens is because of a natural disaster, like our neighbor next door, hurricane, and that kind of thing. You know, like what happened in St. Vincent when the last year volcano erupted. When you use it, as we are seeing it being used now, outside of what it was said for, which is really to curtail people's rights, to prevent protests, and then you have the abuse of the PDOs. And like I said, when we spoke past again, even though you have the 3-man tribunal that detainees could refer to, the minister is not bound to take the recommendations of the tribunal. He could supersede them and say, I do agree, and this person will continue on PDOs. And that is one of the seminal questions that will be answered when the judgment with the Eli matter is given. And you know what is interesting about that? According to how that goes, it will destroy what is happening now, and it will also put the government in the place, because this is an administration who says that they do not want to leave the ambit of the Privy Council as our final court of appeal in civil and criminal matters, right? And for me, this will be the seminal issue to see if they will continue with that in this term that they're in office. Because if it's one thing, and you know, your dad would be aware of this case, right? There was a lady who worked with the MI6, and it's called the GCHQ case. She wrote a book about her experience when the Blair administration was in government, and they took her to court, and it reached the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that while there were certain aspects of national security that could not be divulged because of the sensitive nature, there was nothing barring a former employee who had served out the period of time when she could not have revealed details of her employment with the MI6. Once that period had happened, she was free to talk about her experiences once it was in a way that didn't endanger the overall national security. And this is what might be, that case was seminal in England with regard to people so employed in these sensitive positions. And it is my contention that the Earl, Eli, and others judgment by the Privy Council will do that for states of emergency. And what it will do is undermine fundamentally how states of emergency should be administered And we may very well, this government may very well have to do and amend the constitution. And finally, I want to say, right, one of the mistakes that we would have made with our 1976 constitution that we operate under was bringing forward the savings clause from the 1962 constitution. Because what the savings clause has done is hamstrung our legal process. In terms of the savings clause means that laws that came to us from the colonial period will still have legal effect because of the savings clause. And I'm saying that any amendment to our constitution, we must move away from the savings clause. Because I listened to an interview with Senator Clark in 1976 in our first Republican year, and he said that we had moved from infant to adolescence to adulthood as an independent country. And for me, it is oxymoronic that he brought forward the savings clause if we were no longer an adolescent and infant country. The savings clause should have been struck from our constitution. I'll listen off here and allow your dad to opine on what my intervention does. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, Pastor.
All right, Dad. What say you on the caller's opinion?
Yes, well, not all saving clauses are bad.
Not all.
So not all savings clauses in any constitution are necessarily bad. You know, there are some things that you want to save from it's like the Old Testament. The Old Testament have some good things, it has some bad things. But there are saving clauses in the New Testament that says where Jesus said, whatsoever they say unto you, do it. For it has been said by them of old time, but I am saved. So the Old Testament retains some of the Old Testament principles, and that's what a savings clause is basically. You have the 1936 Republican Constitution, but then you have the Constitution that existed before that and all the common laws and all of that. And basically, when you're writing a new Constitution, you don't want to throw the baby with the bathwater. You want to bring in, save the good things now out of the former Constitution. That's
right.
So there are some good things on top of that. These savings clauses. But what I want to say, all right, is that there are two things you have to pay attention to. Caller suggested that maybe the Privy Council will settle this and we will have to rewrite our laws in order to accommodate some precedent that may be set. And how that case is settled. There are two things we have to keep in mind when we're talking about the Privy Council. Margin of appreciation and public interest. Margin of appreciation is 5 white guys sitting down in London have no idea of the state of crime in Trinidad and Tobago. That 610 people being murdered a year. All those murders are being committed. A lot of those murders are just violent murders, families killing out one another, suicide. A lot of them are violent, street gangs and all of that. They living in England, they're not living here. So they don't have an appreciation of how our country operates. And so they are being asked to make a judgment on how this country is run. The government of this country has determined that the crime is so bad that we need a state of emergency. All right? And the state of emergency, we have the opinion that they are using it to push an agenda to favor their friends or to get back at the PNM, to punish the PNM or whatever. Well, the Privy Council has to look at the public interest too. If we set a precedent and we say, no, you're using the constitutional wrongly and you're using the state of emergency wrongly and it shouldn't be used that way, right? What are they going to suggest to the government? How should it be done? Should there be any state of emergency unless there's an emergency, like, as the caller said, a volcano, it have a natural disaster, it have a tsunami, and we need to do ABC. We don't have laws for it, so let's make some regulation and let's curtail people's freedom for a while, you know, until the situation is remedied, which is how it should be used and how it is used in Australia, which is where we kind of copy the legislation from. Or would they say, well, this government saw a crisis, they saw the crime in this country as a crisis on the international radar. We're very high per capita, 610 people dying every year in this country. That's real high. Trinidad is high up on the list. So that could be deemed according to how it is paid to the paid up emergency as well, to the paid up emergency. Too many crimes, too many gangs. How many gangs we have in this country? So we don't know the Privy Council will look at it. Another thing we have to remember is in 2030, I anticipate that this government will be voted out. And all the moves they would have made this government, it's like my white friend from the short term, to say this government, right? This government will be voted out.
I don't like you when you say it. How you say it?
The government.
This government.
Yeah, that meant, you can say meant. I mean, you went junior sec. You have to say government. Right? Right. I guess when you mind cement, you have to say cement. Alright, so I don't know how the Privy Council would look at it. I have no idea how they're going to view it.
But did they win the case? But no, they're going to give the
No, alright, so the point I was making is that PNM coming back in 2020. Let me ask you a question, sir. When PNM come back in 2020, PNM taking that contract from SMW?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
That is why I can't deal with this country. That's why I'm politics.
So you think is that they should take back the contract from SM Jalil?
No, wait. I asked you some questions. One, some question with that question.
Yes, father.
Do you believe, right, that in 2030 when the PNM gets back into power, that they would retake the contract from SM Jalil to supply Cal? Remember, Cal would be now under the PNM control. Would they take the contract that was taken from Blue Water and give that contract back and give it to SM Jalil and give it back to Blue Water? 1, 2, will the PNM government spend millions of dollars to restore Myla? Will the PNM government spend millions of dollars to restore CPAP and the reforestation program?
I can answer.
And everything that the UNC has dismantled and destroyed within this disastrous first year they've had, when the PNM comes back in 2030, will they spend tens of billions of dollars to put back those things in place? And are you done yet? And after 10 years, well, that is the cycle now. The cycle is UNC get 5, PNM get 10. That's going on forever. Right? UNC get 5, PNM get 10. Somewhere down between 2030 and 2040, some PNM prime minister or something will do some piece of nonsense like, oh man, let's start to build a church for the woman and upset the black PNM people. And those black people will say the hell with the PNM and go and vote back in the US. You see that? I'm worried about that because it's a vicious cycle, it's a loop. We're looping in this country now, 5 years, 10 PNM, 1 step forward, 2 steps backward. So it's almost like, don't worry, my lads, I'll come back in 2030. But it dismantle our whole system, there's millions to bring back my lad, the building going on run down. Rats go and take over the building, all the people unemployed them, so they really have to rehire people. Right? Bam, you mash up secret, you have to start back all them companies that dismiss this company, that company, blacklist this one, they destroy everything. It's millions to bring back secret. Bam, you go on and interfere with the people contract with Caribbean Airlines, they give it to SM Jalil. Bam, you take away the people well, you say that even government land, you take their well. What the government going to do with that well? They're going to make Wassa water, Wassa bottled water. What the government going to do with that? They renew the contract, the need of them lost that contract. So even if the PNM come back in 2030 and say, I need to take it, the need of them might migrate and leave this country. Remember, the UNC know there are 5 years. They know that there's only 5 years again. But they'll do so much crap. But with that 5 years, partner, they can interfere with things so much and permanently damage some institutions. Be hungry here. Good.
Let's take some more calls.
Yeah, but take your phone.
They did say that they're going to bring back CPEP, URP, forestry. They did say that the PNM not the PNM bringing back those things. You say?
Oh, the PNM say that. Oh, I thought they say UNT say that to get back.
All right, so we're taking your calls 464-7003, 464-7003. Well, you heard my dad case. He presented a case to you. He told you his views, but he most of all wants you to be aware of how this of course the word just come out my mouth, yes. How this thing going? How this the protection order? All right, you want you to know because for too long we are operating on a level where we're not being properly informed, and so we get to understand that it's not because of the land. Right? It's not because of the land, but it's because of much more than that, you know. But again, we need to wake up as a nation. So, what's the time now? All right, it's 10:48 and we're ending at 11. So we're taking your calls on 464-7003, 464-7003. All right, those are the numbers. That's the number you could call. Get in, ask your questions. Before that go, make sure and ask him so that when you call them radio stations with their nonsense, you can tell them, no, I am fully aware of what is being said, what is being done. So that you think that, what's your thoughts about the television? About him watching football?
About Dominic
watching football.
There's no constitutional right to watch football.
But the constitutional rights aren't gone already.
Right.
You get a little blind.
What I'm saying to send the commissioner of prisons on leave because he allowed Dominic to watch football kind of way. The man wants to see the World Cup. There are prisoners who want to see the World Cup and can't see. There are prisoners who want to see the World Cup and they could see it. They're watching it on their phone, they're getting data. There are prison officers and they're linking them, they're getting to see it. But he must be getting to sit down in the commissioner office, in an air conditioned office and watch it on a big screen while they throw back some blue water.
Hey, right? Hello, good evening.
Hi, good night, Pastor Google. Good night. I'm glad to hear that.
Pardon?
Good night to your father.
Yes, he's hearing you.
Yeah, good night, man.
What can the PNM do to encourage the diaspora from outside to party in the building? Because they need the information to be out there. So I want to find out what steps should be taken for people who live outside of Trinidad and Tobago, the diaspora, to progress with their party now.
But the opposition leader is presently out there. She has met with Shapton. She has met with a lot of powerful people out there, black people out there, and making them aware of what's going on. And she has had some what do you call it, boy? Mix and mingle events. People telling her. I saw can't say so sorry, but I saw pictures of it. So I think that she is out there.
Well, but when I talk about the past, I'm talking about just how the UNC was using influencers. I think we need a system of diaspora, people who do influencing on the media. If you understand what I'm talking about. Like a good friend, Mr.
But let me just say that thing. I hear you.
Like Dr. Umar Johnson. Who Dr. Umar Johnson is?
Yeah, but Omar Johnson made his blogs about Trinidad and Tobago, and what did people do? They reported his blogs. They reported his blogs to YouTube and to TikTok, and they took it down.
But like I say, you know, the more the diaspora could be have a prominent say in using the social media, I think the PNM will have a chance, you know, when the 2020 election. I want to find out.
Brother, if people going through all this pressure here, if it had to take an influencer from America to convince you in Trinidad that you suffering or the things that you going through, you facing the grocery, you facing certain things, and you still need that influencer from America to tell you to vote. Nah, man, then let me come off this live. I hear you, sir. You see, that's just me. I could be wrong. But I don't think it should take somebody from America to tell me I need to vote PNM or I need to vote out this government. Because at the end of the day, I facing the nonsense. I seeing the rubbish hands-on. When you go in the grocery, you cannot buy proper groceries at $300. And Shapton or we name, the man name you just call it, Omar, and them have to tell me. Well, then something wrong with me. Something had to be wrong with me. The Minister of Housing up to now cannot address the nation and tell us why they pull back the 34 million. Why HGC stopped the contract. So it had to take an American to tell me that. Nah, man, something wrong with we. Something wrong with we. You lose your whole CPEP work. Whole CPEP job you lose. And we still need people to convince us? Well, then something wrong. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon, Pastor. Good afternoon, dear Father, also. Listen to your father.
What's that?
Listen to your father. And after listening to the AG and the Minister and the Minister of Homeland Security, we are clearly seeing where that they are trying to take us as fools. Because one is saying it's not political, and the other one is saying his job is to write PDOs. So we are seeing where they're trying to take us a fool, because we are seeing where people are being attacked and they and the hostile take over. Because first begin when the couple was detained, we heard that there was some assassination, something where the parliament assassinated the parents and high performing ministers. And then we are seeing where the people who now business area attack, they don't know take back land and take back land, the losing contract here, the losing contract there. Hostile take over, and the minister now, and the minister of Homeland Security is coming to the media and telling us it is not political. After the AG said to us, his job is to write PDOs. So what's really going on? They are trying to take us for food, literally.
Well, if you want to be taken for a fool, then they will take you for a fool.
No. They're trying to. They can't take it. I see right to them like plastic, so they can't take me for they can't fool me. Because one saying is not what really is, and the other one saying his job is to do that.
All right. You get your money as yet?
Second?
Did you get your money?
What money?
Hey, let me tell you something. Wait, just now. We in July. August, September, October, November, December. Next 5 months, we have 5 more months before the year end.
Yeah. Right, okay, yes, I'm listening.
Did you get
But
your
what
money?
No, sir, I did not get any money, sir.
Okay.
And I'm being real. I didn't get any money.
You get your food card?
What? No, sir. Sir, no. Because the lady who happens to be the president.
Is she bargaining? Has she started the bargaining process?
She is not. They have not came to any agreement as yet. Since I have anything as yet. So, sir, I am playing the waiting game.
What waiting game you playing?
Well, sir, I ain't got no money yet, sir. She ain't on anything yet, sir.
Okay.
Actually, sir, while I'm here, you played a video yesterday, last night, where there's a young lady praising Mr. Vasan and talking about she put on she getting water on Sunday in Maloney.
Hey, Dad, wait, just now. My father from Maloney, so he can answer that question. Dad only getting water on Sunday in Maloney now?
But I'm not from Maloney. I'm from Larry, so
Yes.
Hey, just tell my father talk a minute. I want to hear my father.
I didn't hear it.
My address is number 2 Sitka Avenue.
Dad, where is that? Not Maloney?
No, Davide.
Dad.
I have a Maloney address.
You don't have a Maloney address?
No.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'm not missing Maloney or anything, but
then you live
address.
But then you live close to Maloney?
Yes.
A street away? About a street separated only?
A street, you could put a big stone on it. But it's not a Maloney address. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Do you get water on Sunday? Do you get water on Sunday now?
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I live at number 2 Sitka Avenue, Pine Haven Gardens, Larry.
Why you giving people all that information, Dad?
No, I don't care about that. I don't fear my life. That is where I live. But it is close to Maloney. But the Maloney problem with water is not our problem. Water, we get water 24/7.
Hey, don't say it too hard. Marinas is in this program, you know.
That is what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. Right? I live in a 1% area that's close to a 99% area. Right? And the treatment different.
So that
right? Wait, it have times some of my people and virgin from Maloney have to come by me and bathe. But there are no water. Alright, but we always have water. Because
under the PNM too? Under the PNM too?
Huh?
Under the PNM also?
What you mean? UNC can't win inside by me? UNC has lost by 10,000 votes in here. Is in here? I was given the mandate to run for and I take over from Mr. Antoine. I am Senator Fitzgerald Hines, but I refuse. I don't like representative politics. You know? But I want to say, where I live, I could stand up on my back porch and see straight in Maloney when Maloney having anything. When they're having sports, I hear in them. Yet still the treatment is very, very, very different. They're treating here like a 1% because doctors and lawyers and all of that living in here. And Maloney does not water. And no one's saying in this country, you know. So when Mr. Attorney General gets up there and say the beaten people, right? And the people from Bayshore. Let me tell you something about upscale areas in Trinidad. Eh? You see, Fairways Maraval, you just walk over the hill and the school street in Carinaja. You see all the Bayshore they're talking, anywhere that is an upscale area in Trinidad, it have a ghetto area right there. Right there. That's the funny thing with this upscale thing in Trinidad. My friend and them go on and living in some upscale area down in Shabon as upscale nothing. When they do find out, the street behind them is one gangster area. Right? Trinidad's small, right? And everybody living there, everybody I living here, and in here people is this and that and 1%. Hey, just driving down here for money. Alright? And that is true with every area in Trinidad. Very few, even Maracas where I had land. I was going and build my house and stuff. When I find out, you just walk over the hill and they have past Americas there, La Saiva, bad like rain, gunman like that. Like that. Right opposite that is our upscale here. The propagate and they call it upscale. So that's a real joke in this country. But the treatment is different. The treatment of the people is what I'm talking about. And that distinction Mr. Attorney General make with the black fella from the Beatam and the quote unquote Trini white people from the shore. That you see that? You ain't going nowhere with that in this country.
Let me hear you 10%.
Yes, sir. That young lady, she was saying that it's the first time in years they're getting water in Maloney, and she's praising Pastor Center. Pastor Center knows nothing of what happened there. There was a 21-inch main. That was the pipe was porous. There are multiple leaks. So rather than plugging all those leaks, the whole pipe was changed. The service has had nothing to do with that.
Do you know when PNM lost the election, they stopped taking up rubbish in the room?
Yeah, they had stopped taking up rubbish. I highlighted it here.
But they was taken up in here.
Okay. All right, you're a big boy. You're a big boy.
The rubbish truck was taken up in here and turning around and passing Maloney.
Wow.
Right? And my people who live in Maloney come and ask me to read TC on the radio, and I did. And I wrote letters and all of that. And the Tunapuna Regional Corporation was being vindictive because they have Maloney as that kind of black people that support PNM. Well, inside by me, it's a Syrian, inside by me, it's a white, inside by me, it's a high color Indian, it's a black Indian, it's a high color blacks, it's a, the dark blacks. Well, it's considered a very expensive area. We're close to Maloney, and I sit down every day and see how the treat Maloney people. I protested that they don't ask for to drive through Maloney to drive through here. Let's go up one big gate and seal it and lock it on so Maloney people can't drive through here. And I stood up to them for that. I say, let the people drive through here. You understand? I live in here 20 years. I never get bothered from any Maloney people to say Maloney people robbing the rich people, quote unquote, in here. Nah. Politicians always dividing the country, boy. Always dividing the country.
All right, 10%.
Okay.
I just sit down here and hear gunshot in Maloney.
Hey. Have a good evening, Dad. Close up the program. Say your closing arm.
Okay, so I'm also good night to you, good night to your father.
You had something else to say, 10%? Like I stop you from saying something. You're songing us to our running you.
No, sir. I just correct said there and then I've been for
no, you're singing like you're hurt. You sound like I hurt your feelings.
No. You asked me some questions. I answered them.
No, I just felt as though when I tell Dad, I try to. Let me tell you something. 10%. If I don't control my dad, he will say things that will get me in problems.
He's a lawyer, so he
that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. The intercepting this corner. I know. No, the intercepting this corner. I'm telling you, I know when the intercepting the corner. You forget who was my best friend.
No, I forget.
You forget who
your father lawyer, so he can defend you.
Right now, as we speak, and intercepting the score.
You hear what 10% saying here? He's saying how he is a big time lawyer, right? And you could defend yourself, not me, but yourself.
Also, you
know. A British lady was shot recently in the presence of her husband.
In Trinidad, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that piece.
How come you didn't hear that?
No, I didn't hear that news. No 10%. I didn't hear that news.
A British lady standing in Trin City in her yard gunmen pull up, kill the lady husband and run away.
Why they kill the lady and not she? Well, why they do that?
All right, so it is being reported now in international media on BBC. Here how they put it. Here how they put it on BBC. A British landlady has been shot dead in front of her husband while on holiday in the Caribbean. They call it that. Oh, no, they call it now. Elaine McGowan, 65, who ran the Castle Hotel in Hyde, Kent, was killed in Trinidad and Tobago on July 5th. According to her sister Joan Butcher, Mrs. McGowan was struck by a gunman outside her godfather's house opposite Trinity City Mall. Mrs. McGowan was rushed to Derek Williams Medical Science Center, where she was pronounced dead upon arrival. She had been visiting the Caribbean island nation to carry out business at her father's farm, Hookal Retreat in Manzanilla. She was the daughter of Caribbean immigrants who had settled in South London in the 1960s.
South London. South London is
the time of the violent attack. All right, partner. This is in the British media now. You feel those House of Lords men and those Privy Council men are seeing this? That an outstanding and upstanding British citizen was killed in the presence of a gunman, pulled up and murdered her, gunned her down, mowed her down to the ground outside Trinity Mall in Trinidad. So when a case come up before about a state of emergency in Trinidad, because of the kind of crimes that happen in Trinidad, and they're seeing British nationals, you all remember when the British nationals were killed in Tobago, and they had the advice. Remember when they chop up the greens on them?
Yeah.
And that was all over the news in England and London, and the British Prime Minister putting him out in that and saying something had to be done with the violence that in Trinidad is shameful and all of that. These people seeing the news. So they wouldn't easily sit by and say Kamala wrong. And they must listen when I talk, boy. They wouldn't sit down and say Kamala wrong. British people being killed here. And that is our final court of appeal. Law lords going and read that. Privy councilmen going and read that. And they'll say the lady right to have a thing because they're killing citizens of Britain. Suppose the British embassy decide to put out no travel advice, because of that. That would justify the state of emergency.
They don't have it already.
Well, Pastor, I must say good night to you and good night to your father.
Yeah, good night.
Tomorrow.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
And tomorrow, please, if you're having a show.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
No, well, last time I said that tomorrow, please, go, you say, how I know you're working tomorrow, how I know you're coming tomorrow, and if you're working for me, and you know all I'm having, so I think if you're having a show tomorrow, please, God, I'll be taking part.
No, Father, I want to say this. This gentleman who you're listening talking here, he does behave as though this he show, And I working for you. You know how I used to work for Iowa? This man does behave as though I working for he.
I must be why he moving so.
Like, why he moving so? But them fellas tell them is big boys in Wassa,
Yeah. I big boy wants that. It's not going to be Barry listening to me. If you just say that Barry listening to me.
Yeah, what Barry don't know you by your voice?
You go find people.
Barry don't know you by your voice. Barry know you. Barry might know you in a different way, in a different capacity, but Barry don't know you by your voice.
If I see Barry, I wouldn't just speak to Barry but Barry have no idea what
going on. Conversation are they having here on the phone.
Okay, all right. My father.
Okay, sir.
Anyway.
Good night, sir. Tomorrow, please go if you have a show. Good night to your father also.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Have a good evening.
Good night.
So, Dad, let me just play this before you go. I'll play this because I'm going to play something for my father to listen to.
I watch off here.
All right, bye. Anyway, take a listen to this, Dad.
And once again, you need to tune in. At a time when the government is making decisions that will affect generations to come, the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve answers. Once again, putting the facts on the table, and once again, you need to tune in. At a time when the government is making decisions that will affect generations to come, the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve answers. So what are we going to address? Well, we're going to address the government's borrowing and what it means to our country's financial future, the growing public concern surrounding the decision to build 2 AI data centers, and the questions that still remain unanswered. We're also going to discuss our Independence Day and African Emancipation Day celebrations, the ongoing state of emergency, crime, public safety, and several other matters of national importance. This is your opportunity to hear the opposition's position on these issues and the facts behind the headlines and the questions we believe the government must answer. So join us at the opposition's press conference tomorrow, Thursday, 16th of July at 10:30 a.m., streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. As always, the facts matter, transparency matters, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, that. So tomorrow, please God, the opposition is having a press conference at 10:30 at the opposition leader's office.
It's open to the public?
No, it's not open to the public. It is open to press, to the media. I will be there. You have any question you want me to ask?
Nah, I want to come.
That are closing remarks.
That is the problem with the PNM. They don't listen to the people. Right? The PNM supposed to have a public forum meeting to hear from their supporters and hear from the people. They don't keep in touch with the people. What them talking to the press for? The PNM supposed to be in Maloney. The PNM supposed to be in La Horquetta. The PNM supposed to be meeting with all the people who lose their jobs in CPEP. And have quiet meetings. It ain't no protest, nothing, no placards, nothing.
Well, they have had those meetings already, Dad, and they had a meeting in Marble the other day. And
not a meeting. They're supposed to have meetings until 2030.
Well, they're having meetings. They're having meetings.
The meeting with the press tomorrow. What they want?
Well, it's not the press. It's a press conference. It's not a press. It's not the press. They're having a press conference, just like what the government's supposed to have every Thursday. Every Thursday, the government's supposed to have a postcard press conference to tell us what they're discussing in cabinet and what they're going to implement. For how much weeks now, the government have none. None they have.
The PNM has 4 more years in opposition. And they may well have 9 more. Right? They have to be careful what they're doing. Because if this woman by some trick or some obeah or something get to play her cards right and employ everybody who was fired and this country somehow turn around and catch itself, PNM will regret these days that they have to put the opposition under pressure. They didn't make a proper use of it. Good.
What's your closing remarks, Dad?
The PNM too formal with everything.
That's your closing remarks. Your closing remarks on the program.
My closing remarks on the program is that the PNM, they're too formal. And they need to hire me to do PR for them. They're not radical enough.
All right, Dad. Okay.
The Prime Minister destroying the country. Methanex closed down. Methanol closed down. Listen, it's bad. And I
No,
tell him,
it good.
if Blue Waters and Answer Makal them pull out of here, don't get me suffer, you know.
I hear you.
PNM supposed to be on.
You know, all that talk you talking about PNM, these set of haters, these set of damn blasted haters who just glad you saying all that you saying there to attack the political leader. That's the genesis of that. You see, all of them damn deceitful haters.
Yeah.
They just glad you saying what you saying there so that they can say, yes, Dad, that's the truth. But when they call a political meeting after this stinking, dirty.
I'm not attacking the political leader.
Well, that is how they're perceiving it. That is how they're perceiving it, and that's how they're receiving it.
I'm sorry that they perceive it that way and that would end up on the doorstep of the political leader. You know, but my perception is that in times like these, we can't afford to be this silent. Right? A press conference is okay, but the PNM has to be innovative and use social media a lot more effectively.
You have a caller on. You have a caller. Let me take this call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google.
Yes, sir.
And good evening to the gentleman, your father. So, Pastor Google, why you want the man to not say what it is he's saying?
What is that?
Why should not the man state what he's saying?
Hey, wait. The man, that is my father. And I do appreciate the fact that you're saying that I don't want the man to say what he's saying.
No, don't take it personal now.
Well, here what's going on, my brother. I just tell you, see this man on this phone here? I don't mess with he. And I don't like the way you crouch that statement.
What do you mean?
But just tell you what I mean.
I don't think I was being disrespectful to the gentleman. I was just simply agreeing with what he said.
And personally, that's not the discussion I'm having. And that's why I said to my father that he make that statement for people to jump out and attack the party and the leader like if that's what the program is about. Wait. That's not what it's about.
Pastor Google, no, don't say that.
But that is what is happening.
Pastor Google, hold on.
Hey, wait, just now. This is not what the program is about. And you see, this is
No. This program is about getting the PNM.
No, that's not what the program was about. The SOE and educating.
No, but the whole idea about this program is to keep the PNM in line and the population. Brother man.
This program is not about that.
So what this program is about?
It's about educating the people on what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Wait. PNM not paying my internet bill. PNM not paying my internet bill. Number one. Number two, I am doing this from the comfort of my home because I genuinely want to have a voice for the people to be able to be like last night I had Mr. Vasan Baraat on. Wait, Mr. Vasan Baraat is a PNM?
Excuse me?
Mr. Vasan Baraat is a PNM?
No.
So I had him on last night and he would have shared his views on how he feels things are going in Trinidad and Tobago.
But Pastor Google, your views and your stand is from a PNM stand.
Well, then better come off because if that's how you seen it, so that you could come on to try to tell PNM what to do, better take a rest.
Why shouldn't I not tell PNM what to do, Pastor Google?
Well, all right. Well, hear what? I will take a.
Why shouldn't I voice my opinion?
And you're sharing your opinion on my platform, and I'm telling you that this is not what this program was about tonight.
I'm not disputing that.
No, don't shout at. No, don't shout at. Wait. Take it. Wait. Hello.
I simply called to agree with your father.
So because you called to agree.
So because take the action that your father just outlined.
All right. Okay. Well, all right. Then you said it, and that's it.
Good night to you, sir.
Yeah. Well, you're disrespectful. That's not what the program is about. That's not what the program is about. If only want to do that, go on. There are plenty of that platform that does encourage that. So I know on that. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Dave, Pastor Terence Brown here. Hello.
Yeah, we hearing you loud and clear, Mr. Terence Brown.
Nice. I want to make sure Dave heard me. Dave, I have been going through a battle since I lost this election. I'm going through a battle. I think I'm the only one who publicly said that I did a scientific study on why PNM lost. I've taken that information, 30-something pages, on all the nitty-gritty of it, and I've sent it to the PNM party, trying for them to understand that UNC is doing the same thing they did in Tobago, the same thing they did last year. They are doing it again. And the information, the data will show PNM. If they continue to think that they can win this election by rambling, by having news conferences, and they have to think again. We have gone a different place. The idea of
it's after 11 and this which is about, by after all we talk about, nobody only called to talk about what he talk about to the Constitution and about what people getting locked up and all these things, right?
And this is the problem, Pastor Google.
If the program was about just now. If the program was about what you're talking about there, I could understand that, you know.
Okay, folks, I done. I'll still look at the movie as it repeats itself. Have a good night, folks.
Yeah, thank you very much. If the program was about that, I could understand that. But not when we open up the phone line, so let's talk about what going on with the Constitution and about what going on with the country. Only ain't calling in. Nobody ain't calling in to talk about that. But now you want to call in to see this is I'm not using this platform for that. Only have all the general council, only have all the party groups, only have all the things to go and vent and let people know all the feeling. That's all they have all those things. When the political leader have a public meeting and she put a mic in the middle of the room, you don't come and talk that way you talking there. I don't understand that. But you know what? I have come to the conclusion that you know what? You all, if only don't get it all the way, then is no way. So only do all you have to do. Do all you have to do. The infighting within the PNM will make the PNM lose the next election. Not coming out there and having public meetings and all them different things. Having public meetings, you're not drawing any new crowd. You're drawing the people who are PNM to the to the meetings. The people who come to them meetings is PNM people. What you're doing to draw other people. When other people watching all you fighting among yourself, you really feel they're gonna come anyway? And this is a hater. This is just an opportunity to bash the leader and to bash everybody else. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. I'm not going down that road. I never created this platform for that. It have platforms for that. It have people who doing the videos and doing the crap and saying but the leader weak and whoever. Go by them. Them love this. I don't like this. Call I-95. I-95 love this. I'm not doing that. I'm not on that. And if I had to come off, I will come off. Because at the end of the day, only really don't care about nobody, only care about yourself. And if you don't get it all the way, then it's the highway. Could never be right, boy. This could never be right. But, as I said just now, don't worry. Don't worry now, man. You understand? I watching all the nasty comments so listening me. That is okay, you know. That is alright. Trust me, I've been through worse. I've been on a radio station that have done worse. But this is my platform though. I could tell you that. So, I have had my say. Somebody say what? Google, you're wrong. We are more intelligent than you think. Okay. Right? So if you all believe that this is what it's supposed to be, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Somebody say, yeah, I need to stop. All right, well, I will stop. Right? So, I think I've said enough. Dad, you have anything else you want to say apart from I'm not going on that PNM bashing road? But you have anything else to say?
Let me say a prayer. So we could bring some kind of peace to the Father in heaven. We thank you for the time that we have spent on this program this evening. We thank you for Pastor Google and the great job that he's doing in this country. We pray, dear God, for our country. Dear Father in heaven, we pray for the leadership of my party. I pray for the political leader, Ms. Penelope Beckles. Dear God, that you would give her the strength and the wisdom and the vision to lead the party, even though we are in the opposition, in a path that will secure us a victory, not just for 2030 to 2035, but this country needs about 20, 40 years of non-stop, uninterrupted PNM rule. I pray, dear God, if any division, dear God, exists in the party, dear Father, that you would intervene and heal, dear God. We could do it without that division. Divisions exist in every party, dear Father. But Trinidad is a very difficult country to run, as the great Patrick Manning once said. Very difficult country to run. But we trust in your guidance, dear God, and we pray that you would put a hand, dear God, restore order and dignity to this country. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. You like that prayer? You're going? All right, good night. Yeah.
The information provided by the speakers and or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
Yak and Friends proudly presents Uhuru 8. Join us on Saturday, July 25th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the City Hall Auditorium, Harris Promenade in San Fernando. This year's celebration is held in honor of Mr. Anthony Kamiziong as we continue strengthening our African ties through culture, unity, and heritage. Experience an unforgettable evening of African dance, powerful drumming, cultural expression, and great food. Early bird tickets are $350 admits 2 and $200 admits 1. Come dressed in your finest African attire for a chance to win Best Dressed Male and Female. Celebrate African culture. Celebrate freedom. Celebrate Uhuru 8. For tickets, contact 684-1792 or ticket outlet at Something Special with Finishing Touch at Ritz Plaza, number 25, St. James Street in San Fernando.
The Constructive Talk team with Pastor Google are asking for your support in their back-to-school drive. Let's help the less fortunate children get ready for the new school term. Donations of notebooks, copybooks, stationeries, and book bags would be greatly appreciated. Show your love, show your generosity by contacting 464-703, and we will organize collection of your donations. Thank you from the Constructive Talk team. And remember to be kind, be generous, and be loved.